up, everyone? What is going on? Welcome back. You have now tuned in to another episode of Let's Talk About It. JR Wisdom with my lovely co-host Avery Woodley here, and
Hey guys.
shout out to Avery. You know what I'm saying? And we're on. Obviously we're on like episode 4 now, I believe, and we're coming at you with another incredible topic. You guys see the thumbnail. That's why you
Mhm.
clicked. And interesting topic, if I do say so myself, in reference to the independent. And I'm gonna say because we haven't hit 2 minutes yet, so I'm gonna say 304 until we hit 2 minutes. Then I'll use the other word.
Yes.
Um,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, the independent 304 now wants to be a housewife.
hmm
So before we jump into it, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to Avery's channel as well. It's in the description and it's linked in the title. Do that right now. Also, if you guys feel the need to call in and share your thoughts on this as well, also have the link pinned in the chat. It's in blue. You cannot miss it. With that being said, go ahead and shout out where you're from, age, sex, whatever have you, whatever suits you. And we would like to know where you guys are tapping in and checking in from. So without further ado, Avery, how's it going?
Great.
It's it's great. How are you feeling? How's everything going on out there in the Midwest, for lack of a better term?
It's
Is
hot.
that it's hot? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's still smoking. I guess it's smoking just as bad down here.
But
You
it's
know.
good. All is well. So, I mean, it's been like 80 degrees here the last couple of days, not super humid. We had a heat advisory for like a week and a half when it was like scorching. It was like 106 outside. The heat index was super high. So it's good. Like I got a workout in, I trained a client, cooked before I got on here. So I got
Mhm.
that done. I actually have a little drink today. Usually I drink water when I'm on here, but I have me a little cocktail. So yeah, all is
Mhm.
well. Happy to be here. How was your Tuesday going?
It was going. I did a little bit of recording, ran some errands. Got some food at one of these little restaurants. Not the best, but I'm gonna be headed out, so I figured why not indulge? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I just picked something up real quick, came back,
Okay.
and the usual. Same thing. It's not the 80s. I can't say that. It's definitely with heat index. It's in the hundreds out here. So
Ooh.
but I'm assuming your weekend was just as well.
Weekend was
All of them.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, very relaxing. It was a great weekend.
Awesome. That is dope. Uh-oh, she got her a little sippy cup. Y'all too funny. Hey, listen, no. But that's awesome. That's dope, man. I'm, relaxed, ready to go. We're gonna have a good time tonight. So I appreciate you guys. Go ahead and hit that like button once again. So I just wanted to ask real quick, because I know we talked about this topic, and this topic has been, obviously a constant thing that's going on.
Right.
What is the independent we had 3 minutes, so I can say it now. What's your definition of the independent hoe that wants to be a housewife, in your words?
Okay, so in my words, I'm gonna try to keep it short as possible because I don't have just like a set definition. But to me, for me, it is a woman who is over a certain age. Okay.
Mhm.
And not saying that younger women in their 20s cannot be hoes, but I'm talking it's a certain mindset, right? So really women
Yeah.
in their mid to late 30s and on, right? They may have kids, they may not have kids. They are educated, whether it was through a higher, learning institution or self-taught, skill, trade, whatever. When it comes to what we would, measure as successful, they are
Mhm.
successful, meaning that they have financial freedom, right? They
Mhm.
can pay for everything on their own. They can take care of themselves. If they have children, they can take care of themselves. All their needs are met and then some. All right. These are also
Mhm.
women who have a mindset. What you think of when you think of the independent modern woman, right? Modern woman who leads in her masculinity. And
Right.
we can like break that down later, but they don't need a man at all. If they want a man, there is a long list of, to me, unrealistic requirements. It's their world and you're living in it. They kind of lead more of what you would think of a stereotypical bachelor lifestyle, right? So
Mhm.
these are women that are leading in their masculine. There is a double standard out there. Women cannot move the same way men move, right? But
Mhm.
they are traveling. They are, sexually liberated. Basically, they're sleeping around with different men. They really don't want to be committed to a man. They use men as their play toys. Like I said, they're out with their girls. They're taking care of business, but they are living their best life, right? When you think of what, I'm securing the bag, I'm a boss babe, all of that kind of stuff. And they think that really anything that relates to the feminine or to being a wife, any of those traits and all of, and those things is beneath them. They're like,
Mm.
I'm not that type of woman. I'm an independent woman. I'm educated. I have my own money. Like, ew, that's beneath me, right?
Right.
So they spend their best years. They spend their years doing this. It's like I said, the bachelor lifestyle, but they are women. Then they get to a point and they're like, wait a minute, I am unfulfilled. I'm missing something. Or they really just want something, right? Because they've acquired all of this stuff. You can only go on so many
Yeah.
trips, you can only go to so many dinners. But now it's like, okay, I'm kind of getting wore out. Wore out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
probably
Right.
physically tired, but you got some miles on you now. Your
Right.
age has gone up and you have some miles on you, and now you want to be a wife. But you'll probably ask me this, but they still have that independent mindset. So there has not been a mindset shift, right? It's not like, oh, I realize that I'm missing out on companionship, and I realize that I am
Right.
missing out on, connecting to a man, and I need a man, and all of these things. Nothing has changed. Their mindset has not changed. They still have the mindset of an independent boss babe who
Mm.
doesn't need a man. But now, because their coochies were out, I don't even know if I can say that, and they're getting older, now they want to be picked and they want to be chosen. And they're kind of, they're out here kind of desperate and they want the ring, but they still don't want to be a wife. They don't even have what it takes to be a wife because they're so disconnected from their feminine. But yeah, now they feel like a guy is supposed to choose them on their watch, on their time, and that he should be ecstatic. And you see them out a lot, right? And you see them. I'm gonna stop there, but okay, now it's on you because I know I'm a woman, so I probably see it differently. And there's certain things that I feel that I can say and go, like, really go there tonight with,
Yeah.
um, that you may not want to, but I'll do it. But what would you, when you thought of this, right? When we talked about this topic and you were thinking like, okay, independent hoe now wants to be a housewife or wants to be a wife, what were your initial thoughts?
So my initial thoughts, because I I've been going over this concept kind of like for years since I kind of understood like probably about 10 years ago where I actually, once again go back to my separation from my marriage and I started to notice certain things in certain women that would hang out because at the point that's when I tried the club scene at one point. Not to say they always have to be in the club scene, but I would see certain women and even on social media the things going on. Um, but before I get into that, I saw a comment just now where somebody said that it's a we're mislabeling it. What you were describing was mislabeling. Guys, it's about shock and awe. Get your panties out of the
It's
wall.
shock and awe. And I
Yeah,
really am. I am, though, talking about women. Let me tell you something. You can be a hoe and have a good job, right? So I am talking, when I said that they're living the stereotypical bachelor lifestyle,
yeah,
if a woman lives that life, she's a hoe because of the double standard, right? We
yeah.
can't move like you all move. So if I'm out here taking trips, sleeping around with different men in every city, throwing my, doing whatever,
In a
y'all be like,
circle.
oh, she's a hoe. She has a good job, but she's a hoe.
Yeah,
So it's that way that women are moving. These are women that are in the streets, but they're independent, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm in the streets and I'm taking a man's money. It's like, no, this is my own money. I'm a boss. And so I can go out here and do what I want to do, but I'm not really a hoe,
yeah.
but you a hoe.
I just say she just got a friendly pussy, Avery. That's all. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
Hey,
what we'll say.
yeah. But
You say that, I'm gonna say something else.
right. But to answer your question, and like I said, guys, it's just shock and awe. Y'all try to pick apart every little thing. Just
Right.
relax. Just watch the video and shut up. So what I'm saying is I noticed it like some years ago, about 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and I would realize that it would be as you described, usually women in their later 30s, early 40s that would have that independent mindset, and they would not necessarily they realize that the light, and I use this term a lot, the lights don't glow because it comes from a Drake song from years ago.
Okay.
The lights don't glow as bright as they used to. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The lights don't come in. You tend to not so much hang around with your contemporaries. You hang around with younger women, or
Mm-hmm.
you try to hang around if you do have children. You'll try to hang around with your daughter or make your daughters or your daughter's friends your
Right.
contemporaries when they're not.
Right.
And you realize at a certain point that a lifestyle that, and I'm kind of, agreeing with a lot of stuff that you're saying, that lifestyle is really for some people, they try to live it, but at a point, like,
Mm-hmm.
what is it that's being fulfilled? Like, what are we accomplishing here?
Right.
Um, we see countless workshops of women, and a lot of times it's not younger women as we see from what I've noticed. I could be judgmental, but from what I've
Mm-hmm.
seen, a lot of these workshops, a lot of these how to get a man, or a lot of these that we see on YouTube, other YouTubers having, it's not really women in their 20s, it's women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are attending these things. And I'm not saying that they all live that lifestyle, but it comes to a point where I feel like youth is one of those things that some women believe will always be on their side, and they're
Mm-hmm.
not taught early on. And when they come to that, as we say, the wall, the
Mm-hmm.
wall and things like that, where the attention slows down over time, and you realize that, hey, this hot girl lifestyle isn't cutting it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, where's the security? I'm financially secure, as you said. I'm able to live all this. I've done all the trips. I've done
Mm-hmm.
all these things. My kids, I may be an empty nester at this point. So mileage, and I hate to say, because dudes is is not the same thing at the end of the day, but the whole thing with who is it that is going to be good enough, and are you
Mm-hmm.
end up settling with just some guy, and the guy is your age, and I always say this: the men that are usually your age aren't looking to be with a woman at the same age. And I'm just being
Right.
honest. I always say this to women. When you're in your early 40s or late 30s, you might get away with a guy in his late 30s trying to be with you. But when
Mm-hmm.
you're in your early 40s, a guy in his early 40s does not really want to be with a woman in her early 40s, and so on and so forth. A guy in his late 40s. So it's usually a woman in her early 40s that is living that lifestyle. She's going to end up, and I don't even want to say settling, end up being with a much younger man who she will have to take care of. And I've seen women in their 30s as well do this.
Yep.
End up with a much younger man who just wants to use her for, whether it be her goodies, for lack of a better
Mm-hmm.
term, or use her for some financial gain, or she'll have to deal with a much older man that's probably 15 to 20 years older than her, that may not be her prime picking, as opposed to her
Yep.
wanting a man her age. And I think that happens a lot. And I've said it to some women, and they've noticed it, and they be like, you know what, JR, you were right about that. I see
Yes.
stuff like that, and it happens because that it and it may be where you end up actually like, okay, if I settle for this guy, or these are the guys that actually want me, that may not be
Mm-hmm.
the actual desirable ones. So I think it's something where the whole infinite coins to put in the machine, you have that. Some women have that mentality. I got a bunch of coins, I can just keep putting them in the machine,
Right.
start the game over, start the game
Mm-hmm.
over, and it just doesn't. I mean, it works for some time, but you can leverage your beauty, which at the end of the day is important. It's one of the first things that men see.
Mm-hmm.
You can leverage it. You can try to get as many nip tucks, BBLs, all of these other things. But
Right.
if you haven't fixed those things that you discussed earlier, you haven't fixed your mentality. You still trying to boss a man at a
Mm-hmm.
certain point. And I'm not saying that you need to be ran all over, but if you're
Right.
still leading with this masculinity and this aggression, that no, it's not gonna happen. I've made it to this point. Hey, where are you at? What's going on? And all these things, it's just not worth it at a certain point.
Right.
And
When they
we
still have the pants on.
yeah, yeah. And That's my thoughts on it. You kind of knocked it out the park, and I appreciate you saying it from a woman's perspective. You know how
Right.
you see it, because I know you said when we were offline, you said that you said you encountered or maybe seen
All the
some young
time, even
lady.
over the weekend, right? I don't really. Okay, so let's just put this out there. But you know what, the shoe fits wear, right? Because I don't really
Right.
want to say anything, and then people feel like, oh, is she talking about me? But if the shoe fits wear,
Wear
I
that
went a
mofo.
lot of places this weekend. But you know, now in this space, I really watch when I'm out. I watch people, right?
Right.
And I mean, people are watching me, but I'm watching them for different reasons. And I'll say I'm at an event or say I'm anywhere, right, where there's men and women, mixed ages, let's say 30 to 50, right? So we're kind of
Hmm.
all in this like age group, right? And I watch the interactions. I watch how they're dressed. I watch how the women, carry themselves. I look at their groups of friends. I listen to how loud they are. I look at their facial expressions. I watch the men. Are they with, a bunch of other men? Are they with a few? Are they with the woman? Whatever. And I watch this. It's almost like watching, and I don't mean this in any type of
Yeah.
disrespectful way, but when people used to watch like Animal Planet, right? And they show
Right.
like animals in the wild, and you see them, the different groups, and you see them at the watering hole, and you watch the interactions. That's what I'm watching.
Yeah, you're looking at it from not that you're like you said, not that you're in the space,
Right.
from a psychological perspective, I guess, analyzing, an
Yes.
analysis. But yeah,
And
go
you
ahead.
see the women that walk in that are of a certain age or older, and how they're carrying themselves, and you can feel the arrogance coming off of them, right? So when I am talking about this independent, how these are the women that I am picturing, right? You know that they are easily accessible. And when I say that, I mean they sleep around, right?
Okay.
Or they've slept around or they get around. But they feel that they can do that and they shouldn't be judged because they make their own money, right? So
Right.
here I am, I'm a woman, but I'm a bachelor. So I've been leading this bachelor lifestyle, but nobody can speak on it. And if a man does, it's like, how dare you?
How
How
dare
dare
you?
you say you want a woman that 10 men in this room haven't been with, or 5 men in this room, or if she's, traveling, like, oh, I got my men in different cities. Okay. Like, whatever, so those type of women, and when you see them, they look desperate. The ones at this in this age, they look desperate. They're walking in, and it's like they want men to see them, right? The men are not may not be naturally drawn to them, but they
Right.
are doing whatever they need to do to get men to look at them. And the reason they have to do that is because since they're leading in their masculinity, they don't have the natural feminine essence and energy that pulls a man in. When a woman can walk in and every man and women look like, who just walked in this room?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Who is this woman? She may not even be the most attractive, but it's something like quiet and powerful and sexy and
Commanding.
magnetic about
Yeah.
her. She's secure. She's not being loud. She's not like, doing all of that kind of stuff. She's just her. She's just walking in. She's confident. She's strong. She doesn't have to flex. These women are walking into a space or in a space operating like a man. You know, you're loud, you're boisterous, your girls are moving the same way. You look like you're trying to get chose. And then the men that you want will sleep with you. You have this long list. You want the perfect man, the ideal man, the man that walks on water. Yeah, they'll sleep with you, but at this point, they would never choose you because you
Mm.
would actually bring down their stock.
You're right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And it's like, but they fail to realize is that honestly, for some of them, it's not too late to get chose if they had a complete unbecoming, right? If they had a complete mindset shift, but not only that, if they started to do stuff to attract a man. And the
Mm.
problem with that is those are the same women at one point, like, oh, you're trying to get picked. Oh, this person's trying to get picked. But now you want to get picked and you want to get chosen. You still think you're a prize, which is why they don't fix anything. They
Yes.
don't work on themselves. And it's like if they realize that their age was not on their side and that the miles between them, that they got a lot of miles between their legs, it seems like they should be fixing themselves up in a sense to make themselves more appeasing to get chosen, right?
Mm.
So it's like if you have a used car on the lot, usually you try to clean it up really good. You got to
Right.
detail it more or whatever to still make it look appealing, because to somebody else, somebody is going to want it, right?
And don't
Like it
take it
may have
out.
some miles on it, but now you know what? It's still a good running car.
Only
But
take it out on the weekends or Sundays. Yeah.
right, but they don't want to do that because they have that entitlement and they still have that independent mindset and that ego, which means that they lack accountability. They have not sat themselves in the mirror and be like, oh girl, you know what, the clock is ticking, we're getting older, let me really try to stop hanging out so much, stop doing this, let me try to work on myself first so I can get chosen, so I can get picked. But you know, that's beneath them, so they, you know.
So Avery, what advice, and because obviously we not just all about just talking about stuff. We about giving people advice too. What
Right.
advice would you give? Just say a client just happened to come across. You just happen to come across a client. They're like, Avery, you know, you're beautiful. I see that you command attention, respect. You seem very regal, very
Mhm.
feminine as a black woman. I'm in my 40s. I got my own money. And I know there
Mhm.
may be some women watching right now. That's why I'm asking you this. I got my own money. Um, I have had, my share of men,
Mhm.
but I've always been, if he doesn't bow to my will, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
But I'm trying to bag one right now. What can I do, or where should I go? What are some things that I can do to attract this type of man that I'm wanting in terms of getting married? I'm serious about it.
Okay.
And at that age.
So the first thing I would do is ask them why, right? And they could say like, "Oh, I'm trying to get a man," but why? Why do you want one? Right? Do you want the companionship? Do you want this? And what can they do? I would tell them stay out the streets. And when I say the streets, I mean the clubs, and stop going on the girls' trips. Stop doing all this stuff because it's taking up your time.
Mm,
And any free, if you're still working, any free time you have right now, because time is of the essence, we have to spend it literally like in training, in boot camp. We have to get you in shape. We have to kind of eradicate that old mindset that you don't need a man. I would get her to do the work. Like, you have to see the value in men. You know, what is the value? Men do have value. They are needed. They are wanted. There's a lot that has to be done in order to, because she can bag the man, but can you keep him?
yes.
Right? So do you just want to get married and be divorced in 6 months? Or so are you trying to keep the man? If this is really what you want and you want to be fulfilled as a woman, there's nothing wrong with wanting companionship. And it's like, I'm harsh, but I'm also honest, right? I would be very honest and blunt with her, but also let her know you're not the only one that has this mindset. And also, there is nothing wrong with wanting a man. There is nothing wrong with wanting a loving, committed relationship. There is nothing wrong with feeling like you're missing out on something. Yes, I have the money. Yes, I have the career and I've chased my dreams, but it's okay to want a man, because 9 times out of 10, her circle is going to be operating, is going to be coming from the same mindset in the same
Absolutely.
space, right?
Absolutely.
Because any married woman, or a lot of married women aren't hanging out with women like this. We
Mm,
may meet up every once in a while, but they can't hang like that because they have a whole household and a husband and a relationship that keeps them out of this world, right?
mm-hmm.
So I would tell you, you can't do it until you take the pants off. You cannot do it until you sit down with yourself and we sit down in the mirror and do this work, right? So don't worry about getting a man now. Get to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't bag the man. Now you have time to sit with yourself. We're not traveling. We're not doing the brunches. We're not doing the dinners. We are working on you. We are working on getting you connected to your femininity. So mirror work, grounding work, writing down. I have clients write down almost like a relationship timeline.
Yeah.
Women, I want you to write down almost everybody that you, and I don't mean just like one night stands, but like, let's write down your track record. Let's see what's going on. Let's find some patterns. And once they start seeing all this kind of stuff, then they understand. Once they start spending more time with themselves, they naturally start to connect to their feminine, because now they're finding moments of rest. You're not hopping on a plane, you're not going to dinner,
Yeah.
you're not doing all this stuff. So now you are forced to sit with yourself. You're in isolation, and their heart will start to open up, because now they're going to feel lonely, right? They're going to be like, wait a minute, what am I really missing out on? What
Mm-hmm.
do I really want? Because now I can't busy myself and I'm not just consuming stuff. If they shop a lot, I don't let them shop. We're not buying any red bottoms. We're not buying any designer bags right now. Like, I want you to fill yourself up with you. and with this introspection time, and we go from there. And it works, but they have to be a willing participant.
Right. Come to your own rescue. That
Yeah.
sounds dope though, what you said. When you make people write stuff down, whether it be men or especially women, like you said, you know,
Yeah, no,
can
it's
you remember? Can
serious.
you remember everybody? Hey, right, let's write it down. Like
And
if
then,
you go
yeah,
ahead.
a lot of times people realize, like, oh my gosh, I've never been by myself.
Yeah.
And they don't even know who they are because they've become a chameleon for each relationship and each person that they've been with, right?
Mm,
And it's a common thing. And it's also common to live a fast life and you're running from yourself. So it's like if you're constantly taking a trip or you're constantly doing this and you're, in the streets and you're in the clubs and you're all these places, you don't have time to sit down with yourself. You don't have time to know what you're really missing because you're just running and you're filling your time with stuff and with people and with events. But when you start sitting at home and you've gone to work and you have everything you need around the house and you can hear a pin drop,
mm-hmm.
and you don't even know how to enjoy yourself, and you don't even know who you are as a woman, you know what I'm saying? And all of these things, and you have to rest, means I'm forcing you to sit with your feminine
Yes.
and to find out what it is and to connect to all those things that you thought made you a weak woman. All those things that are wife that that a healthy wife and a good wife would have, these qualities, right? There's no perfect wife, there's no perfect woman. But there are certain things you have to have. You have to be vulnerable. You can't have an ego. You have to have a submissive heart, right? When you have a submissive heart, that is what allows you to naturally submit and not fight it. You have to be able to have all these things. And usually these independent women, these independent hoes, we're using it for shock value, do not have any of those qualities. Or they're very few and in between, and they kind of suppress it, or they bring them up when they need to for a form of manipulation or for like a power thing, right? So if I'm this type of woman, when it comes to if I wanted you, right, or if there was something that I wanted from you, or if it was a look, right, it's a holiday and I want you to come to this party with me, whatever it is, I can turn it on. I can turn on the feminine and connect to it a little bit, right? I can
Mm-hmm.
try to like pull you in with it, but it's only temporary. It's only
Temporary.
conditional. I won't stay in that space. I don't live in that space.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm done
that's
talking. I need
yeah.
a
Nah,
drink. I
that's a
need a drink.
chameleon. Nah, no. Shout out to you. That was dope what you just said. And I think it is that self reflection is a mother. As we talked on a few other videos, um, some people do feel, and I do. I was in a relationship with a woman who had to constantly be talking to someone, had to constantly be on the phone, had
Right.
to like she couldn't be by herself. She just
Mm-hmm.
constantly had to be talking to someone and having that going on, whether it be a dude or a woman. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I have to have that. I'm almost afraid to be alone and with myself because who are you at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day when you're by yourself? You know what I mean? But
Right.
before I get into this next question here, make sure you got shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Jared. Jared, I did receive that PayPal. I appreciate you. If that was you who sent it, is there's a delivery time? Yeah, I got it. Shout out to you. Hey, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to Avery's channel as well. It is in the description and in the title of this video. We are should be 50, we should have at least 70 likes right now, guys. Run it up, hit that like button right now.
Hey,
You can do
Derek.
that. Yeah.
I've seen him a few times, so I'm just saying, hey.
Yeah, that's my buddy from way back. My Niger brother. He's out in the
Oh,
UK. Yeah, he's out in the UK. My Nigerian brother. So yeah, hit that like button. We need to have it at least 70 right now, guys. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. Also, shout out where you for you guys who are just now tuning in. Shout out where you're from, age, sex, gender, whatever have you. Who cares? I know you care. I care too. But go ahead and do that as well. So, question though, Avery, where do you think this mindset originates, or how does it come about? Where do you think it comes from?
this is the same source that I always give. A lot of times the women in their lives, right? When women have a certain view of men, we always go to the men. Well, her dad must have did something, or an
Mm,
ex-husband, or whatever. A lot of times we don't look at the women in their lives, right? From
Mhm.
whatever age, whether it was your grandmother, your aunts, your mother, if you were raised by older sisters, whatever tribe of women you are around during your formative years as a child, well, as a young girl, you adapt their not only their trauma, but like their mindset as well, because
Yeah,
they are planting seeds in you, right?
absolutely.
They're planting seeds in you. They are the first women in your life, and they are telling you how to be a woman. And you become that. They try to build you up to become what they weren't. Right? We
Mm.
all do that. Like we do that with our children. It's like, okay, I want you to become what I am not, or I want you to do the things that I haven't done. So if the women in their life didn't reach a certain, level or potential or whatever, right, in their personal lives and their careers, and something happened with the man, now they're like, you know what? I don't want this for her.
Mm.
So what am I going to do? I am going to bring her up and raise her in a space where a man cannot interfere with the woman she is going to become. I am going to raise her, to know that she doesn't need a man. Maybe you fell in love with the man and you depended on him and he left you high and dry and you were homeless, or you passed up a job promotion or anything because you went to be with this man and he told you a dream, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. But now, because a man did that to you, all men are like that. And that's another thing that's not fair, right? Just like there's double standards, it's not fair. But yes, if there's one bad man, all you guys are bad.
Mm.
That's not how I think, right?
Right.
Uh, Probably at one point I was probably like, okay, I did, but we all know like I've done a ton of work
Yeah.
and still still doing it, right? That's the only reason why I can see this from different like perspectives. But usually, yeah, it's like a man cheated, all men cheat. If a man gambled the money away, all men are no good. They don't care for their families. He walked out. He went with, whatever, right? All men do it. And now you are protecting. You think you're protecting your daughter or your
Yes.
granddaughter or your niece by raising her this way, but it's not healthy because you're passing on your trauma and your past hurt and your unforgiveness, and you're literally imparting it on her.
Mm.
And then she grows up like, yes, that's right, because that's what she knows. That's what she sees. And she may know a few good men, right? She may have brothers or an uncle or whatever, but to her, it's not the norm. The norm is men are no good. The norm
Yeah.
is men are our competition. The norm is we don't need a man. The norm is that if you want to be a successful woman, especially if you want to be a successful Black woman, you cannot attach yourself to a man because he
Right.
is going to impede the process, or he's going to bring you down, or he's just going to prevent you from reaching your goals anyway. And they're brought up that way.
Mm.
And then also society, right? Also, there's also society. It's the empowerment movements. It's, everybody pushing their feminist agenda, which really does not apply. They use us when they need us and we get on their bandwagons, but it's not for us, ladies. Let's just be honest, right? The feminist movement, it's not for you.
Nah.
But and then they're watering it. Then the artists, the pop culture, right? The music. They can have a whole man at home, but if
Right.
Beyonce says irreplaceable to the left, yes, babe, yes, B, whatever
Right.
whatever they call it, and then she's going home and curl up to Jay-Z because he's the alpha in that relationship. She wouldn't be who she is. She was already talented, but the star she is now without Jay-Z, when you see pictures of them, the reason he's standing back like that, he doesn't look inferior. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's me. I did that. I helped create that. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of like a proud look. But she's not, when you watch her with him, she's not the same chick that you see on stage. She's very like docile. She's soft.
Mm.
And you can tell like she leans into him. And you can tell that he is leading that relationship.
Mm.
But you listen to her music, you listen to the ethnic, whatever that song is, hot girl this, snatched, it's giving bad B vibes, all these things, and that is also adding fuel to the fire, right? So you're like, yes, there's not a lot of women telling women how to be women. There's not a lot of women out there telling women, yes, you can be successful. And when I say successful, you can have an education, you can have these things, but you don't have to lead in your masculinity. because the
Mm,
world is telling them that you have to act like a man and think like a man and be a man in order to be a successful woman. And we have this wrong perception of what a strong woman is. You are not a strong man. No strong man wants another strong man in his woman. He doesn't want to feel like he's sitting up with his buddy.
right. Not at all. Not at all. I don't want to be, laying up with my buddy at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rubbing on a tennis ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the middle of the night. Shout out to the ladies with the short hair, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? The hair definitely doesn't make the lady. You know what I'm saying?
It
But I
doesn't.
definitely don't want to be with my buddy, and that whole polarity thing is real, as you said. And I
Yes.
think a lot of people, a lot of women, and I'm not necessarily going to say men, because men do allow these things to happen for the sake of not arguing in certain situations, which they do tend to end up unhappy in those cases. But there is such a thing as polarity, and
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to a point where that polarity is off, there's going to be some issues going on. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And it's not about, and like I said, I always try to point that out, is it's not
Mm-hmm.
about who's running, who's running this, who's doing this, that, and the third. Like, she must be beneath my feet, and it's not about her
Right.
being like, this is, I have him where he does this, I pay all the bills, so on and so forth. It's about that dynamic. That polarity is very important, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what keeps things going on.
Absolutely.
But the question I had, so back to kind of like what we were talking about before. Do you think that a lot of these attributes that women may seek to have, or that they do possess, or that they do exhibit in terms of the qualities that we were talking about, do you think that's basically to overcome loneliness, or is it just something where women will never admit that, hey, I'm not lonely or whatever like that? What's your thoughts in terms of that, the whole loneliness concept? I'm doing these things, I'm constantly staying busy, time flies by, and I never have a chance to slow down so that I can be lonely. And I don't know if we went into that before, but just to ask that question
Right.
about loneliness.
Hold on, I have my son dimming the lights. That's too
Yeah,
much.
y'all. So, hey, Jared, if you could block whoever this is, Mods, if you can block this naked HD
Good.
in here typing up, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Go ahead though.
Okay, good. All right, so Dylan, turn the lights up a little bit. Sorry, guys, I'm literally talking loud. Okay. So a lot of women, when they get to a certain age, right? At first, it's fun, right? It's fun
I'm
to try.
sorry.
It's fun to do
I'm
all
sorry.
this.
Yo. Anyway, go ahead. Mike Rashid just messaged me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm stoked right now. Shout out to Mike Rashid. Anyway, that's
Oh,
my homie.
okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Um,
Yeah,
but no, I think at one point it's fun, it's a lifestyle, but they get to a point when they do that because they are lonely, right? They are lonely, but they're also giving off this image of what the world is telling them they should be. Right. When I scroll, like when I used to look at Instagram, you see the quotes like secure your bag, do this, be unapologetic, be bold, be free, don't let a man do this, own your sexuality, all of these things, right? Break glass ceilings. So they constantly are being fed this, right? So they were fed it at a young age. And then the world around them is feeding it to them. The feminist movement, the empowerment groups are feeding it to them. The music is feeding it to them. Now their circle of friends or their tribe of women are thinking the same thing. How do you go against that?
you're right. You're
So they
right.
keep doing it, right? It's like when people try to keep up with the Joneses, right? But they are not at a financial place where they should really be doing it. And they're just constantly like trying to keep up. And it's like they don't know how to stop. So these women, it's like when they get to a point when they realize that they're lonely, at the moments when they are at home by themselves and and they're there for longer just the time to shower and sleep or to go on the next trip, they're realizing like, oh my gosh, like this is scary. Like I have all of this stuff, but I'm missing something. But they can't say anything. How would you go to these women at the next Boss Babe brunch and be like, you know what, guys, like I
You're funny.
really don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't mind hanging out with you guys sometimes, but like, I need a man. I don't want to be like, no, I don't want to go to the club tonight. No, I don't want to go on another trip with you all. Like, I want some companionship. I need and want a man. I think I'm lonely. Like, they're not going to say, oh, I think I'm lonely. I know from the messages that I get from women that feel that way, and you will not see it underneath any posts. You know, like, you'll see men write certain stuff underneath posts, like, heck, I don't care. But the women are doing it in secret and in private because what? You don't want to look weak, right? You have this
Right.
image now that you have to uphold because, you know, other, like, certain groups are making something, they're fighting for us to be empowered and they're fighting for us to be independent. And then your family, the women in your family are watching you like, you better not get with no man. You don't need a man. Even if you have a kid by one, you don't need him. He doesn't need a dad. All he needs is you. So it's like now you have to go against everything that you've been told and everything that you know and what you're listening to. And
Yeah.
you're going to get even lonelier because the only way you can get out of that, one, is through detaching from that, right? Physically detaching from these people and then detaching from that mindset. And now you have to sit with yourself. Like, they don't want to, like, they really don't want to do that. So some of them try to run from it. And then some of it now, yes, they're like, forget it. Like, I don't care. But as long as I have breath in my body, like, this way of thinking is wrong. And I do want to change. But it's, you know, it's not a lot of them, which is why you have a lot of women who die. I said they died and they've never lived. You have a lot of people who die without living,
Wow.
right? But you have a lot of women who have never they die and they never took their pants off. They die and they never knew it was okay to ask for help or that it was okay to need and want a man because they were told that they didn't need that. They spent their life struggling trying to take care of their kids, even if they made money, but still struggling. Being a parent is hard enough. So now they're trying to be the mom. They're trying to be the dad because everybody told you, no, you don't need their dad. He doesn't need to be around them. They got you. And you've taken on this heavy load and you carried it your whole life and then it's over. You have the stuff, but then you have nothing. You never even had a chance to be a woman. You walked this earth and never connected to your femininity. Like, who wants to do that? That's one of the reasons why I had to work on myself. I was like, oh yeah, this ain't working out.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to go out
Like,
like
and
this.
me being a believer, it was like I was kind of shunning the man that created me. Like, you created me to be a woman, but I need to tap in and do what it takes to really become the woman you created me to be. So
That's dope. Y'all, did y'all hear what she just said? Like, yeah, that was some hot fire. Just now. So if y'all didn't listen to what she just said, just rewind that back. The work being done because I believe that truly for anyone. If you carry around a certain um mentality or certain thoughts or that I know it all, I can do it all, I don't need any help. It's gonna be the way it is, and this is just it. I think when you transition and you're like, I missed out on so much, and this goes for anyone, but you know, I know we're talking about women, but this goes for
right.
anyone. And you transition, a lot of that stuff haunts you. I think
Yes.
at night, and even especially when you go to transition, you start thinking like, what did I do with my life? You know what I'm saying? When I could have led with love, for lack of a better term, love, or you know, this person that I was fighting or I was fighting to be and not being authentic, if you will, and
Right.
adopting some stuff that I know isn't truly my core. You know, so I feel you when you said that. I'm not a woman, but I can feel exactly what you were saying, and that you were willing to. And people can say, well, she was willing to make a change or whatever. You were willing to make a change because it didn't feel good to
Right.
you. You know what I
It was too
mean?
uncomfortable.
Right.
And it was uncomfortable, not in, you know, a good way. Like, oh, you know, it's like, it was uncomfortable. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't, I feel like I'm holding my breath. I'm taking too much on. And I
Yeah.
remember the moment that I surrendered, right? That's when I also talk about being submissive. I had to submit. I had to submit to all of that. I had to submit to who I thought I was, what I thought a strong woman was. I had to submit to those old ideas and everything in order to start becoming who I am currently and who I will continue to become. Evolution is it's continuous, right?
Right.
But it was really uncomfortable and it took a lot of work. It was a lot of crying, a lot of screaming, a lot
As it should. Yeah.
unbecoming, right? Trying to soften something that is hard. I was so hard. You know, like it's like softening. I made it feel it's like softening scar tissue. It's not cute. It's not a cute process, but it's worth it. And the end product is like the bomb. But I was too hard. I was too hard and I was too hurt.
I'm just shaking my head. I'm just in awe right now. Um, I got a question though,
Okay.
because we talked about, we're talking about these women in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think so because I was watching a clip earlier,
Okay.
and it was on TikTok or something, or somebody shared it, and there was a guy talking about getting into a relationship with said woman that we're talking about,
Okay.
and he's like, by this time this woman may have been, and I get it, there's a double standard, but he's just talking about a woman in particular.
Okay.
This woman that may be that age, she's been in several relationships, and as you were getting at, the mileage may be high. Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel as a woman that that's not the end all be all in terms of multiple relationships, trauma that may come with those relationships, distrust, all these things, and body count? Do you think that that's a determining factor in terms of a future successful relationship, or do you think that a woman like that may be too jaded to actually have a successful relationship? And I know we just talked about doing the work, but I'm just asking.
Right. So you mean as far as like body count and the mileage?
Body count, mileage, and like so for example, he threw out like a
Okay.
19-year-old, and not to say he was just throwing this out there. We don't know. Body count is body count.
Right.
19-year-old, he was like, I may be a 19-year-old's 19, 20-year-old, I may be her third or fourth relationship, third or fourth guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you come across a woman who has been single all her life,
Mm-hmm.
boss babe, whatever, mid 30s. I may be her 22nd, 23rd relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
let's just say, if it wasn't a relationship, 23rd or 24th, let's just say 23 or 24 guys she's been with
Mm-hmm.
intimately on that level, whether they were relationships or not. That's all different baggage that may have molded her. Well, I don't even want to say baggage. That's all different experiences that may have molded her or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that? And I'm just throwing 20 something out there. Who
Right.
knows? It could be whatever. You
Right.
know. Do you think that that's something that, as these guys call pair bonding, that they like to throw out in this thing? Do you think that can affect a woman ultimately, the way her outlook on men, or actually settling with a man
Mm-hmm.
in a positive, loving relationship?
I think it can affect it because you have to think every time we have an exchange with a person, a piece of us leaves. Like we how do I put it? Like some sex can be just sex, right? If it's like some type of intimate connection or any type of intimate connection or sex, but at some point you are giving a piece of yourself away, right? You're giving a piece of yourself
Absolutely.
away. And also, if these were relationships or just whatever, right? It seems like at some point either she may not have valued herself or she didn't value the opposite sex,
Mm,
right? And to me, but here's the thing, people change. People can change. People 100% can
I
change
agree.
as well. In this space, though, when I'm talking about the ones who still have the same mindset, so this means these are women now that may have a high body count and a long list of relationships and
Mm,
the same mindset. And now they want to be married and be in these relationships. It is 100% going to affect the relationship and they will not be able to have a healthy relationship. If you have a woman, because same thing with men. Men can lead a certain lifestyle and then mature emotionally, mentally, work on themselves, and then settle down, right? And they can have successful, healthy relationships, I believe. I believe
absolutely.
it is the same thing for women, but you cannot do it with the same mindset. You cannot do it without accountability. So if you want to have a high body count, you want to be, have these things, and you have these people are attached to you. You've given these different people and these different relationships a piece of you, right? You also have them attached to you. If you have not unbecome You are bringing that all into this relationship with this person, right? The same
Right.
mindset, everything is still attached to you. So when they say like old, old wine, what is it? Old wine, new wine skins or whatever,
Mm.
that kind of concept. You really got
Got
to unbecome. Like you really have to unbecome. People can become new. People can evolve. I 100% believe it. I have witnessed it. Just like I've witnessed people who don't change. They
Mm-hmm.
may change their hairstyle. Their bank account may change. They may change their physical location, but they are still the same. Like my dad used to say, like a snake can shed its skin, but it never changes its pattern. So you have those
Right.
people. And then you have people who truly do all the uncomfortable work, right? Do all of the healing, face themselves, find out, look at their mistakes, not just other people's mistakes. What did I do? You know what I'm saying? How have I acted? How have I treated people? What part did I play in these relationships? Why do I not value men? Why have I not valued my whatever, right?
Mm.
Just whatever it takes, they can 100% evolve. And when they enter into that relationship, this second half of their life, after they're unbecoming and becoming, they can have a healthy relationship.
Mm.
But if they don't do that, and 9 times out of 10, people don't want to do that. They don't want to face themselves. They don't want to face their traumas. They don't want to face their faults. They don't want to face anything. They don't want to face themselves. Most people don't want to face themselves. And
Mm.
it doesn't matter how much money you have, you cannot outrun yourself.
Can't. These are facts. Yo, once again, the lovely co-host Avery Woodley is spitting hot fire. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna read a question here that I see in the chat from a particular person I think is
Okay.
quite interesting because they threw a little colorism in there, which I don't see really has anything to do with it, but we're gonna get Avery's
Let's look.
opinion on this as well. But hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Shout out where you're checking in from. I see are we at 100 likes yet? We should be at 100 likes. If we're not, hit that like button right now so we can move on. We got 90 something people watching, 9 more. So 9 people. Matter of fact, everybody in here hit the like button if you haven't already. We should be at 100 likes right now in the chat. Shout out to everyone. Go ahead and shout out where you're checking in from tonight. We'd love to hear it. So
I love seeing where people are from.
absolutely, likewise. That's dope. We got people from all over. I'm from I'm in Charleston now. Avery's in the Lou.
In
You
the
know what I'm
loop.
saying? Yeah. I guess that's what they call. I think that's what us outsiders call it. I don't know what y'all call it, but
Yes.
I heard Nelly say it, so I guess it's right.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. so so here's what Snuggles 668 said. The both of you people, what do you mean you people? The both of you
Mhm.
people look like what people call light skin. How old is you? 60 something? What
Mhm.
people call light skin. Do you think that has a determining factor in how you all interact with the opposite sex? I'm gonna do a video on this too. How you all interact with the opposite sex and how you are treated with intersexual dynamics. Avery.
Well, first of all, go to my Instagram page, Avery_Woodley, because ain't nothing light over here. And there's nothing wrong with it. And it may just be, it's probably the lighting. But baby, I just posted this picture of this blue dress, baby. It's all deep, dark melanin. But
Wow.
all the shades are
Hey,
beautiful.
you light skin, Avery. Cut it out.
No,
You
go
light
look on
skin.
my page. Look on my page. Your girl is giving just look. They always say it's giving. I'm giving dark chocolate,
Hey,
dark,
hey,
dark Godiva
hey,
chocolate vibes. This is
Avery,
the light. It's fooling you. I don't know what's
yeah,
going on.
Avery's giving y'all inadequate melanin vibes right now.
I
But
don't know
yeah,
what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you take this one first.
um, so in terms of light skinned people and how they interact with the opposite sex and how you're treated, like I said, I literally wrote this down today to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm assuming what you mean, Snuggles, and you can feel free to call in Snuggles to expound. Can you pull up her Instagram on YouTube and let's all see? No, you can go for yourself. If you wanna pay me, you can send a super chat and we can do that. Oh,
Yes.
Black Rain said you're light skinned too. Okay. Anyway,
Uh-uh.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not.
Yeah. So I think that there is, and I think everybody can agree in this, and within this it's not just the black community. This is any community where anyone has some sort of melanin, um, whether it's Southeast Asian, whether it's
Mhm.
Hispanic, whether any community that has melanin, the lighter complected or the lighter skinned folks are treated differently.
Right.
And I'm not going to deny that. That's just the way it is. It's not just a
Mhm.
black thing. It goes on, and that's just how it is. Are you treated differently? I think that's definitely something that within that community or within that diaspora or direct community, I think is definitely you're treated differently. But I think to a colonizer, for lack of a better term, you're definitely not treated differently in that manner, or a dominant society of that country that you may be in. But even within, I think within certain countries, outside of the U.S., it's just one of those things where you may be treated differently. Certain people desire to be with that type of person because of programming, social programming,
Mhm.
you believing that this person is or feels like they're better, or they think, or you may think that they're better than you, even though they may not feel that way. Hence why certain people of that complexion tend to date or procreate with someone of a darker complexion,
Right.
as and vice versa. It just tends to happen. So in terms of intersexual dynamics, I'm assuming that can go hand in hand. What you mean in terms of intersexual dynamics? I'm kind of slow, so I don't quite know what you mean about that.
I
But
might have to Google that one. And you know
yeah,
what I will say, and I don't want to go too in depth with this. Being the brown skinned woman that I am, okay, now I do get a little bit lighter in the winter,
right,
obviously, but no, seriously, like go to my like I'm brown, right? Now,
right.
one thing that I have noticed when it comes to interacting with the opposite sex, not necessarily on my like who I am is who I am. I don't change, I'm not I don't change. Uh but one thing I will say is that men of the opposite sex of different races do deem me it's I feel like sometimes it is over sexualized. It's like, oh, she's exotic, right? Because
Mhm.
it's like I'm a black woman, but I'm a brown skinned black woman. And then in the summer, I train a lot, right? I'm outside a lot. I like to train. That's my whole feminine thing. The sun like powers me up, it energizes me. So I do burn, right? I get sunburned, I get even darker, and I hear the comments and I see the looks and I get them throughout the year, but really in the summer, like the darker I get, it's like, ooh, your skin, you're this, you're that. And it's like, and it may just be something that they're into, right? You like what you like, but
Absolutely.
there is a difference, right? There is definitely a difference. And yes, we know colorism and does exist. And I've heard like, oh, you're pretty for a brown skin girl. But when it comes to, yes, the opposite sex and really anybody else, well, black men too, but really like people from Europe, Italians, French, Polish, like all those places. It's they're like, ooh, and just white men, like, ooh, your skin, like everything about you, and it's like sexy and exotic and all of that. And it does make me feel sometimes like I'm on an auction block, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, but that's all I will say to that. But Snuggles, not to knock anything light skin. That's the beauty about us. We come in all shades. But your girl is definitely brown sugar.
Yeah, Snuggles. There you go. You know what I mean? Can you pull up her YouTube and like who do you think? What do you think this is? Anyway, I'm sorry, but shout out to you, Snuggles, for tuning
And
in.
I like
I'm
what
just
Lottie
saying.
Dottie said. Like, why is this an issue? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was, it was a comment. Thank you, Snuggles, but
I think some people just have to get that off. You know
they
what I'm
do.
saying? Because it's just like I think when we look at people, and I know we kind of getting off the topic here, but I think I'll just talk about this. I think that's the first thing. That's one of the first things that is addressed. Is it's like an elephant in the room. It just has to be. I have to say something about it,
Mhm.
regardless. I have to get off the topic and say something about it. But why is this? Why is this an issue? We have more to be concerned about. Yeah, for sure. you know. But anyway, Snuggles,
We're
there you
trying to
go.
get
I
these
just
independent hoes to realize what it's going to take to become housewives at this older age. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. So independent hoes, you don't have to be a red bone. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to be a red bone to be chosen. You know what
No.
I mean? Because not all red bones are attractive. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So you get that out of your head, Snuggles. And I'm sorry to use you, Snuggles, but you asked it, so hey, I'm just responding. Not all red bones are attractive, so let's cut it out. A dark skinned man, but I like pecan or lighter women. Of course you do. No, I'm cutting the fool with you, man. Yeah. So yeah. So this topic, I was we kind of left off on that part
Mm-hmm.
about before I got off on this. Attention, lights don't glow as much as they used to. Doing the work. What else did we not cover, Avery? Because I know we're at an hour right now, and we were giving hot fire all evening here.
Let's see. Oh, I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
So, some people will say you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. I think we talked about this a little bit. Like, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife.
Mm,
But there is a difference, which we talked about, between an independent hoe and just a hoe,
you're
right?
right.
Do you believe that you can turn it's easier that you can turn one into a housewife? Can you turn a hoe into a housewife?
I like I said, I get a lot of flack in
And
in
this is
this.
like a broad, I know it's like a broad
Yeah.
question, but
No, I can answer that. I'm a firm believer. It's how a woman treats me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And I get a lot of flack for my views in terms of this, but I really don't care because, bros, I'm not sleeping with you at the end of the day, and that's what
Right.
I like. I like you to know. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care what your thoughts are on, and hence, another video coming about the dick police.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which is a serious issue about being concerned about what another man who he's sleeping with and things like that. But
Oh
it's
my
about
gosh, I'm not even gonna go there, but yep.
yeah, yeah. It's about how a woman treats me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if I have knowledge of okay, she's a hoe. I know that she has been with this guy. She smashed the homie. Shout out to Ray J. All these different guys. She's been with this guy, this guy, this guy. I know this. Yeah, can she be reformed? Yeah, but in my mind, I have knowledge of this. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? In terms of a woman that I don't know, which I guess kind of defeats the question that you're asking. But at the end of the day, if she did have a promiscuous past or she was living that lifestyle and she was independent and she did the work, as you stated earlier, and because I'm not going to tolerate that, me personally, because I've gone through enough in my life to where if I'm in a situation with a woman or I'm just at the point where I'm just too old, and I think the older we get, the less we tolerate.
Yes, and the more we go through and we overcome, and we once
Right,
you do that work, you really become zero tolerance. It's like, yeah, you don't have to be perfect on my wavelength necessarily, but you got to be over there. You know what I'm saying? Like over here, this is what we're doing.
correct, correct, absolutely. So I look at it as, can you turn into a housewife? For sure. If because she could be I feel like I'm talking on some pimp shit right now. She could be this
Go
type
ahead.
of hoe. You know how pimps be saying, yeah, you have a hoe that's a renegade that doing this, but then you have this hoe that is she runs everything by you and all. So I I think
It's a
that
level.
yeah, you got hoes that are clean. You got hoes that like to cook and clean. And I'm sitting here talking like a pimp or some shit. But uh you have a she can be reformed, for lack of a better term, as we were stating. She can be reformed if she treats me in a manner and she's in her feminine with me. And
Mhm.
she could have been with 1,000 men. And I know
Mhm.
this is going to upset the He-Man woman haters by me saying that, but like I said, once again, I'm not sleeping with you. She could have been with 1,000 men. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I have no knowledge of it. But if
Right.
she treats me and she caters to me and she cooked for, I'll paint you a picture, right?
Okay.
So you have some third world countries that we know of.
Mhm.
Prostitution is legal, right?
Yes.
So, and we just to name a few, some are in the Caribbean, or there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot in the Caribbean. And when I say Caribbean, I'm talking about Central America, I'm talking about the actual Caribbean, and I'm talking about South America, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of these countries that are third world and they have prostitution. These women are naturally submissive. They're raised submissive. They're raised to
Mm-hmm.
be wives. But
Yeah.
because they're so poor, they participate, and I want to say participate. They don't have to, but they know that it generates fast money.
Right.
Fast money because of sex pats and sex tourism. They're
Mm-hmm.
able to accumulate the amount of money that would take them a month or 2 months. They could make it in a night. You
Right.
know what I mean? So they do that for a certain amount of time, certain amount of years. Some of them do it for a long ass time because they like living
Mm-hmm.
that lifestyle. But some of
Right.
them do it just long enough. Then they go and settle down with the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Even though within that 2, 3 years, they could have been with 100, 200, 300 men
Right.
within that time frame. At the end of the day, are they still good wives? Because are they still going to be good wives? Chances are they will.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of dudes on here, oh hell no, oh hell no, she did this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't take away from the fact that she can still be a good housewife.
Mm-hmm.
GR, you're simping. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact. And I look at a woman the same way. If I have knowledge of it, it's different. If I don't have any knowledge, she could have been the biggest H, running these streets
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. I'm not into doing detective work. So
Yes.
I'm sorry, and I know guys hate that. You got to do an investigation, and all this stuff. I'm not into all that. So if she treats me like this, if she's submissive, if she supports me in my endeavors, if she's all about me, she's willing to, basically, I don't have to argue with her. She doesn't like to
Mm-hmm.
argue. She likes to do all the shit that I want to do. Man, you could find more of the woman of your dreams in her than a woman that hasn't maybe been or no relationships at all. So yes,
Absolutely.
I definitely believe that, and I'm sorry to have to go to that extreme, but that happens all the time
It
where
does. Yeah.
that occurs, and that's a real life scenario that
It
goes on.
is. No,
So
it is. And when it comes down to it, like you said, it's you have to be with her, right?
yeah,
You have to be with her. And if she, at this point in her life, makes you feel like you are the only man and you are the only man, and like you said, she has the qualities that it takes to be a helpmate
hmm,
and to be a good wife, and you have peace.
yes,
She's not fighting with you. She values you. She loves you. She respects you. She helps you release.
mm,
It's you all against the world. She helps support you. She cares about your mental health, right? She's not just there to take from you. Yes, you are giving something to her, but she is giving you more than enough. Then that's your decision. It's nobody's business who she's been with because we don't have to lay down with her.
absolutely,
You do,
absolutely,
right? But also, and I know I'm the one that was talking about the independent hoes, but just to play devil's advocate, I know some women that haven't been with hardly any men that none of these men would want to marry
absolutely, yep,
at all. Like you would not want to marry her. So don't just because a woman may have low mileage does not make her wifey material and does
just because
not
she's
make
beautiful,
her a good woman. And like JR was saying, yes, if this woman has done the work, right? Yeah, she may have had her own money, but if she has done the work, you guys, that's the main piece right here. And that was like, yeah, the title was fun, but the main component is you have the independent hoes who now want to be a housewife. We're talking about ones or who want to be a wife, right? They have not changed their mindset. So when you think independent, modern woman, masculine, I don't need a man, egotistical, narcissistic, self-serving, selfish, lack accountability, and all of that, these are the women that we're talking about, right?
right?
I don't really respect men. Whatever. I don't value men. Men are my competition. Men are the enemy. Men are the root of all evil. We are talking about them, the ones who then now want a ring and want to be a wife without changing their mindset and without doing the work. And they don't realize that like their age and the miles on their stuff has taken their stock down, right? But you still want a man to pick you, but you haven't done anything to unbecome to become. So JR is talking about the women who may have been one way, but now they unbecome to become. They've sat with themselves and they are made new. They have evolved. right? They have
Mhm.
evolved into this woman that can be an amazing wife and an amazing partner, helpmate, team, whatever you want to call it.
100.
That's what we're talking about. And
Mhm.
I do, and I 100% agree. Just because somebody was raised in the church or they've been with one man, she could be a complete hellion, right? She could
Mm.
be your worst nightmare. So men also don't pick women just because they haven't been with a lot. And I'm not saying like, oh well, they haven't been with my boys. You don't necessarily may not want to be with somebody that's been with your boys, but
Right.
you know what we're saying, right?
Right.
And also
Right.
women, don't think that you can just now be like, okay, I want to get chosen without doing the work.
Mm.
Men don't care necessarily about that independent mindset. You have to become a woman if you want a man. You have to become a woman if you want a man. Pussy does not make you a man.
Damn.
It does.
You remind me. I
I
think
mean,
I
your
had this.
pussy doesn't make you a woman. Excuse me. That does
Yeah.
not make you a woman, right? You have to become a woman. There is stuff that you have to do to become a woman and to connect to your femininity. That's
Mhm.
not it.
I think what you said just reminded me of a client I had. I think I told you about her, and she was a truck driver,
Mm-hmm.
and she just dressed like a dude,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she was asking me like, "How come I'm not getting it?" And this is the woman that was paying for sex. I was telling you about. I think I told you about her. She was paying for yeah, she was paying for sex because that was just. And I
Right.
know this is getting off the topic, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. As you said,
Yes.
you
Paint
have to
the
be a
picture.
woman. You're looking for a man, but you have to be a woman because that's what a man is looking for. And we're talking about heterosexual relationships. But in
Yes.
her case, she wanted a man, a serious relationship, but she wasn't getting the men that she wanted. The men that she wanted, she would pay them for to screw her for sex,
Yeah.
right?
Just
And I
like
told
you,
her,
bro.
yeah. And I told her, yeah, because she sent me pictures, and I was like, hey, you need to start doing this, this, and this, and this. But I brought it to her. I said, do you like feminine men? She said no. I said, why don't you like feminine men? She was like, I'm not attracted to them or whatever. And I said, well, what do you think a man sees in you when he sees you wearing these cargos, flannel shirts? You got
Dickies.
yeah, Dickies. You got your haircut. You're a heterosexual woman. You like men, but you got your hair cut. You don't put any effort in the way you look, and your mannerisms are masculine, but you want a masculine man, and you're masculine yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking a shortcut like a man would do, and you say,
Yeah.
"I'll pay you for sex." You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he'll some dudes don't. I'm not saying some dudes, but some people will just be like, "Okay, money changes a lot of things, the dynamic of a lot of
Right.
things." I'll do that. Yeah, pay me $300. I'll go ahead and knock you out the park.
But
But
that's companionship except for a moment. She wanted a relationship and she wanted a man.
right, and didn't want to
So you
change.
you can't, they weren't gonna sit up with her and travel and lay down and read, talk, whatever. Like, so it's like, yeah, you're getting the sex, but like you're not getting the relationship, you're not getting
Right,
the companionship, you're getting a moment, like a
right,
hot second. When she was, able, she could have, like you said, you worked with her, she could do the work that it would take to attract a man. But you acting like a man and looking like a man and you want a man.
right,
Like it, like, I don't know where women register, or even when women feel like, okay, well, I can get my makeup done, I can get my hair done, get my nails done, and that makes me feminine, right? But
yes,
for a real man, when I say a real man, not just a man, not just somebody that has a dick, but a man, right? A man who is grounded, a man who is confident, who knows who he is, because there's nobody wants a man who's not grounded, right? But we're talking
hmm,
about confident men. They're men, alpha men, whatever you want to call it. They're leading in their masculinity. If you
right,
want that type of man, he's going to see through the exterior feminine, because you're still going to have ways when he interacts with you through conversation, how you approach him, how you may stand, like all of these things that are going to turn him off. He'll be like, oh, you look like a woman, but you a dude. You
indeed,
like,
yeah,
you are
yeah,
a man. Like, I
yeah.
can't even get down with this. Like, there's nothing about you, so I can sleep with you.
This makes my penis soft, like Dave
Right.
Chappelle
I can
said.
sleep with you for a moment, but I don't want you to be my woman. I would never choose you. I
Yeah,
would never choose you to be my wife because you are me. You are a man.
Right.
You are leading in your masculinity. They don't want that. And then they wonder why they end up with some of the men that they end up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the woman, you're the man.
Nah, yeah, that's definitely not working. You feel like taking a call, Avery?
Do we have one?
Yeah, I think we got DC in the building. He's tuned in before, you know what I'm saying?
All
So
righty.
if you want to go ahead and let's go ahead and bring DC on.
Okay.
DC, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing
Hello.
great, man. How you guys doing? Hey, Avery, what's up, JR?
Greatest day ever, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. So, what this all is an utter lack of concern for what men want. And I can tell you where this comes from. So, you don't have to actually you don't have to actually tell somebody or show somebody the consequences of their actions or show them how something may be wrong. If people emotionally feel like they can get away with something, or if they emotionally feel supported, even if they can logically see that they're not going to be supported and it's not going to work, people will do it anyways, especially women because they tend to be more emotional than we are. So, what I mean is this: for men, we know automatically, we can't say, I want to be the type of guy that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have a bunch of girls and I'm gonna get eights, nines, and tens, but I don't necessarily feel like making myself more assertive or, like Avery had said, more grounded. I'm just gonna go out and be myself and not approach girls, and I'm just gonna put on a suit and the eights, nines, or tens are gonna come to me. We know perfectly well that we're just not gonna get anybody at all. But what's happened is society has told women lies that you shouldn't do this for a man, don't be this for a man, don't change for a man, so that women will buy stuff. And so what that causes is women go around, and even if they see that they should change for a man, they don't even try to. Like one of my friend's sisters, I was talking to her and I was just asking her like what she wanted in a man and whatnot. And she had told me, and she was telling me this long list of what she wanted. And I asked him, okay, what does that guy want from you? And she said, I know he wants me to be submissive and, submissive, cooperative, things like that, say yes. It's like, I point out to her, did you notice how you made a long checklist of what you wanted? But when it came to what he wanted, it got shortened up like that. And that's the problem. Women have a drive to go and get with a lot of guys, but society has told them that you can do that and you can go and get a man after you get done doing it. And so they feel like they can get away with it even though they can't. And so I think that's where it comes from. Once you become a hoe, see, you put yourself in the worst spot possible. See, all the men who are respectable, dominant men who have real options, if they know you're a hoe, they're not going to make you a housewife. The only guys who are going to make you a housewife if they know that you've been a hoe are the men that you're never going to respect or even be attracted to in the first place. So you just end up with nobody. And it's all because if people can feel good emotionally about something and have any sort of way out, like in my opinion, I think all women have had the desire to go out and be with a bunch of dudes they find are attractive. But back in the day, society didn't support it, and there were immediate consequences for it. And nowadays, it's not there. So that's my take on it.
That's dope. You got anything on that, Avery?
No, he's right. I mean, we spoke on some of that when it comes to women thinking that yes, I can live, when I called it the bachelor lifestyle. I can have lead a bachelor lifestyle, and then when I'm ready, now I can be chosen, no, I should be chosen as a wife, right? And I should still be able to get the man that I want with these long lists of unrealistic requirements, right? They do feel that they can do both and that they don't have to change, right? It's unrealistic. It comes from, like I said, their upbringing. It comes from the women empowerment movements. It comes from society, our culture, the music, and everything like that. That's all I have to speak because I was drinking a little bit of my drink. So DC, just in all honesty, I had like went off in my mind a little bit, but I brought it back. So I do see some of the points that you were making. Absolutely. And thank you.
Yeah. In all honesty, like, you know, my dad's talked to me about this, and me and him both agree that we think everything, the way things used to be back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, we think that everything's going to go back there. And this is just my logic behind it. Everything happens in cycles. The rain, the snow. If you leave the water on too hot in the shower, eventually it's going to go cold. The Holocaust ended. The segregation ended. Everything stops and starts. It's just the cycles of life. Your hair follicles. You know, your hair falls out and it grows back in. It's just the cycle. Everything in life happens in cycles, and nothing can last forever. But before that, like I've mentioned, my friend's a psychologist. There's a thing called bottoming out. And what bottoming out is, it's when things get as bad as they can get. They get so
DC, I
bad.
need you to land this plane, brother. I need you to land the plane, brother.
Oh, okay, my fault,
Yeah.
man. Okay, so what I was saying is, I think that eventually we're going to get to a point where the marriage rate is only down into the low 40s. I think that women are going to start living with each other, and then they'll live with animals, then each other, and men are going to be off having their fun, just sleeping around, and then it's going to get to a point where women are going to get really depressed and tired of, and we're going to have to change back around. That's it, man.
Yo, I've heard people say that, so I definitely I see where you're coming from, man.
I do too.
Hey, shout out to you, man, for calling in, DC. I know
Thank
you're a
you.
you're a smart young brother, man. Keep it coming though.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Thank
See you
you.
Hey,
guys.
have a good night. Oh shit! I brought in Kitty Dottie. My bad. That was accidentally. I brought you up here. How you doing here? What's your
Oh,
fine
I
self?
like that name.
What's
Hey,
happening,
Kitty
baby? Go
Dottie.
ahead, baby.
Well,
What's happening
no,
with you?
actually, it's Lottie Dottie. I was going too fast.
Oh, you're
I'm
Lottie
gonna call you
Dottie.
Kitty.
Hey,
I'm gonna call you Kitty. I'm gonna call you
Yes,
Kitty
how are
Dottie tonight,
you?
baby. What's up? What's up, baby?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? What I wanted to say was I kind of agreed what DC was saying. Hi, DC. I'm in DC,
Okay. Okay.
but I think it's more so. Oh, how can I explain this? I think it's more so that women we drink the Kool Aid as far as falling into feminism, as what you were saying earlier. I'm sorry, I don't know your name,
Avery.
Avery. Avery, thank you. We sort of fallen into the Kool Aid to becoming the boss woman and to work hard like a man, play like a man, but we forgot how to be feminine.
Mm.
And actually, my mother and I we were talking about it. She's a baby boomer, and she was saying that the silent era or the silent age, they didn't want that. They wanted to be free to make their own choices, do what they want to do, and that was pushing men aside.
Mm-hmm.
So my generation, Generation X, we got the full Monty of it, and we taught our children how to be independent, not need a man, and um, you could do it on your own. You could get the bacon fried up in a pan.
Mm-hmm.
But and then like my mom, she's 80, and she never thought that she would be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at her and I'm like, I don't want to be alone.
That's
Yes.
right.
So I am doing the work. Oh, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Yes, girl. Lottie Dottie, baby. It is ugly, but
It
you're
is
doing it.
ugly. And
You are doing it.
I gotta thank my old man. Oh my goodness. Him dealing with me for 15 years of my foolishness.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a man's man, like,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, there's only one man in this relationship, and you're not it.
Baby.
But that's all I really had to say
But
on
you know
that.
what? Really quick, and I want to say this,
Mhm.
but that shows that there was something in you that he, you know what I'm saying? That a good woman, right? Like that you're a good woman. And he's like, you know what? I'm telling you, like, I love you, but there's only one. I'm
Yeah.
the man.
Hmm.
And in order to keep this going, you're gonna have to figure it out and become the woman. Because that's it. One man and one woman. So thank you for calling in. Thank you for sharing. And yes, your mother, that was me. I was like, I don't want this, right? I don't want to be this way.
Mhm.
And all of that. So thank you so much and continue to do the work. I absolutely love it.
Lottie Dottie, you can't beat them men off you. You need to cut it out. I see you
Oh,
doing that
I'm
work,
gonna
baby.
tell you. I'm gonna
Out
tell
there in the
you.
district, out there in the district. I know you can't beat them off, baby.
Oh,
Come on now.
look. In my younger days, oh my goodness,
Baby, you
hourglass
still
shape.
cold, baby. You still cold, baby.
My old man, he used to carry my books home from school.
Oh my gosh, love it.
Oh yeah. Oh, we've known each other for 35 years.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. Well, I'm
good.
sending love, peace, positive vibes, and a covering to you and your old man.
Oh, and
Indeed.
also, ladies, you have to learn how to cook. You got to learn how to cook.
You
Mm.
sure
You
do.
got to get that pot, put water
Burn
in it, and
something.
make magic.
Burn something,
Yes.
baby.
Yeah, all this down. Stop it.
Yep.
Okay, but outside of that, thank you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you
Lottie
so much.
Dottie.
Bye bye.
Shout out to Lottie Dottie. Hey,
I
peace
like
to
Lottie Dottie.
yeah. She came in with the energy. I clicked on it by accident because I was
Yes.
removing good buddy DC. Shout out to DC. But yeah, shout out to Lottie Dottie. With the spunk and the fire.
Gloria
Chef,
said, living for Lottie. She was like, cook and clean.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for sure. Shout out to another YouTuber, Chef Chupino. I think he's down in ATL. Another one in the space. Shout out to him. Appreciate the super chat. Peace, love, and light to the platform and the entire chat. Y'all, if y'all can drop his YouTube channel in the chat. He's got a cool channel where he talks about contemporary topics in the community. For sure.
Awesome.
I've been on there a couple times. So shout out to Chef Chupino, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm about to bring on who I was talking to you offline about, Avery, who I had on last night.
Yes.
Cassie.
Okay.
I'm about to bring her on. I see she called and she's also been in the chat
Okay.
saying some things. So I'm dying to hear what Miss Cassie from the Shy is talking about. So let's go ahead
Hi,
and bring
Cassie.
Cassie on. Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
What's up?
Hello.
hey Avery, hey JR, how's it going?
Oh,
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Let me get this right. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on.
you got that struggle Wi-Fi tonight? What's happening?
No, your thing has me reversed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
You
it's like
good?
the mirror image. Okay, there we go.
There
How's
you
it going? Okay, so my question is this, because you mentioned about, you're talking about the whole masculine energy thing. JR, we touched on this a little bit yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a musician.
go.
Right.
There aren't very many female musicians at all. I don't care how many female bands you see. As far as the overall spectrum of the music industry, there's not very many of us.
Okay.
Right.
And there's really not very many of us that can really, really play. There's a lot of us that will look cute, with a guitar in our hands.
But they
Shots
can't
fired.
jam. They can't jam.
As far as like being able to seriously play, there aren't very many of us. So I'm one that has been able to make a living doing this, and I'm thankful. But you can't go up in there being all prissy and like, you got to come in there ready to work. You know what I mean? So I think there's a difference between masculine energy and acting masculine. You know what I'm saying? And it's a fine line, but there is a line. There is a line. So my question to you, Avery, and I'm asking because I just want to get your take on it. I've been managing it myself since I was 18 and been playing professionally, but I want to know, how do you manage that? How do you compartmentalize it to where you don't bring that into your relationship? Like, what are some things that you suggest?
Right. And I know exactly what you're saying. It's the same thing when you have women who are in spaces that are male dominated, right? Whether it's corporate or whatever. And we all have masculine and feminine in us, right?
Right.
And it is healthy to have both. But for the woman, it's healthy to, predominantly lead in your femininity. But if you are in a workspace or in an environment where you have to lead in your masculinity, then you do that, right? because masculine energy gets things done and hustles. So you need to have some of that. It's not like you shouldn't have it at all, but like you said, you should be able to disconnect from it. But what I like to say, before you walk through the door and you walk through the bedroom, right? Before you walk into your home or whatever space you share with the man in your life, you should be able to disconnect from it. Or if you don't have a man in your life, you should be able to step off that stage and out of that performance and be able to walk into Cassie the woman, right? Into your feminine. And there are a couple of exercises that I have women do, right? One of them, like I said, is the mirror work. You literally sit down in the mirror. The first one that is a tip, and this is for women, no restricting clothing, right? So I know a lot of times we wear leggings, we wear sports bras, we wear tight stuff. You need to have on like a robe or something free to where you don't feel restricted and bound. You need to be able to sit there, and whether you're sitting on the floor in front of a mirror, you need to be able to feel and relax your body and really look at yourself, right? You're going to have something draped over you because there's an exercise where you won't have anything on and you're looking at yourself. You set the mood for yourself, right? A lot of women are disconnected from their feminine or don't know how to step into it because they don't really truly they're not in love with themselves. And this doesn't mean in a self-serving way, but really become in love with who you are as a woman, right? The things that you have turned off. Think about the things that you turned off. Think about what are your likes? What are your dislikes? How do you like to wear your hair? What is a way that you said you couldn't wear your hair, but you want to? Your physical dress, right? What is something that you thought you couldn't wear, but you really want to tap into that? You want to do that, right? But you have to sit with yourself and really look at yourself. Not look at your physical appearance, but look into your heart. Because a lot of times, in order to lead in your masculinity, you have to guard your heart, right? You are disconnected. You're a little bit colder. So you're really going to look into your heart and tap into that. There's grounding work. I had a client recently, and I was like, I'm sure you've walked outside barefoot or been at the pool. I was like, but this time, I want you to walk outside, stand in the grass, sit barefoot, right? Let your feet feel the grass. What does it feel like? Because the earth, and I'm not like some extremist, right? But it does, you do have to connect to that. Women need to be able to feel. What are the birds sound like? What does the air feel like? What does all this feel like on your skin? And to breathe and find moments of rest. Do a bubble bath, right? And I'm not talking about just the typical self-care, but you're being very intentional with all these moments, right? You are nurturing yourself, nurturing your feminine, and naturally you would start to open up, dance around, turn the lights off, light some candles and dance. Not a routine, right? But just feel your body like flow. And the more time you spend with yourself, the more you will be able to open up. Right? Write down what do you like about men? What is beautiful about men? Not what you need from a man, not the qualities that you want him to have, but what is beautiful about men? What is powerful about men? What is powerful about, the masculine? And the same thing with women, right? What makes women beautiful? What makes them powerful? And because when you write stuff down, you can visualize it. Or if you get stuck and you're like, wait a minute, it shows you areas where you need to work on. And it also shows you areas where you may not know yourself. So there's various things when you're out and about, let somebody open the door for you. It sounds silly, but I had another client that was doing this, right? You practice certain things. Don't rush to the door. If they say, hey, do you want me to grab this for you? Instead of being like, no, I got it. Be like, yes, thank you, right? So even practice taking a step, like literally taking a step back, right? Fix your posture. If you're talking to, having a conversation with the man, maybe instead of standing up in front of him, sit down and lean back. There's little things that you can do along with the inner work and with the outer work, and and you'll get there.
No, these are all things that I do. I just wanted to read,
Yep, so you're right. You're right on target. Self-pleasure. I don't care what anybody says, self-pleasure. A woman, you have to know your body. Yeah. You have to be in tune with your body, because a lot of times the reason why women cannot climax and get to a certain level with men, it's not because he don't know what he's doing, right? A lot of times we're disconnected from our body and we're in our mind and we're not in our body. Mm-hmm. Right? So self-pleasure, all of those things are huge.
Basically knowing all of oneself.
Yes.
Getting to know your whole, who you are,
Yes.
inside and out. And I think that that's a hard thing for women to do. I've
Yes.
had to do it because of my occupation,
Yes.
because I have to tell stylists how to style me, how
Mhm.
to, those kind of things, how I want my hair. You have to really be in touch with yourself and know yourself. And I think
Yes.
that, and maybe because I'm 49, I've experienced this.
Mhm.
But I think there's a freedom that comes with it.
It is, isn't it freeing? It's like the blindfold is off and you're seeing everything in a whole new light, right? Every movement, if you're cleaning, you clean differently. Like everything is different once you connect to your feminine. But we're told that to disconnect from our feminine to be successful. And that's not true.
Okay. Well, let me take it one step further. So I've done all of this, right? I know who I am. Why is it that men tell me you know too much? You know what I'm saying? You're too, you know what I'm saying? Like you're too in touch. I've had men tell me that.
But how do
Like,
they know that, are they, is it your what are your conversations looking like?
the conversations are, and I don't know if it's just maybe in my industry, they don't really expect women to know as much as I do. You know what I'm saying? Men have told me, you know too much, Cassie. You care too much.
So if you're hearing that you know too much, if you dial back, and it's going to be weird, right? It's going to be weird at first, depending on how you're leading your conversations, because even our conversation that we're having now is perfectly fine for this platform. If you were having this conversation in front of a man, you would come off like you were leading in your masculinity. Even though we're talking about femininity, right? But it's also your voice, is how you assert yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But then there's a time to dial it back, and it doesn't mean that you're acting dumb. It doesn't mean that you're gonna play like, oh my god, none of that, right? That's the fake feminine, none of that. But you can keep a little bit, right? They don't have to know so much. You know that you're intelligent. We know that you know a lot. You know that you know a lot, right?
Right.
But kind of like dial it back in conversation and start practicing just in regular conversation and see that it happens. Because when we're like this, men feel like we're challenging them and we're trying to stop them with our knowledge, right?
Right.
And it's a turnoff.
Yeah, but JR, like I told you yesterday, I love me a good debate, though. That's sexy to me.
It's sexy to you.
Weird,
but hold off on it until you find a man that thinks it's sexy to him. It's sexy to you. You know what I'm saying? It's sexy to you. It may not be sexy to them, but there are men who like a good debate, who like the conversation. It's like, oh, we're going to debate, and then,
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I said yesterday. Yeah.
But you think it's sexy. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. What do men think is sexy? Do they think that's sexy up front? Because you have to think, if you like to debate, they may not know that you also know how to be in your feminine, because so many women are debaters. So many women are going toe to toe with them. So for them, it's a red flag, and they're instantly going to think, oh, here she goes. She's going to challenge me all the time. They take that as a challenge, and that this is how you are going to be in the relationship.
Right.
And so that's why it turns them off.
That's good.
It doesn't mean get rid of that part, but wait to, just pull it back a little bit and wait to see if that man thinks it's sexy. Because if you can't say, well, I think it's sexy, he has to be with you too.
Right. Gotcha. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, hon.
Yeah. Good stuff. JR, good to see you again.
Yeah, like if I may add, you know what I'm saying, based off what you said, because I agree with what Avery said, and I know we talked about this offline as well. You have to find, and I hate using that term equally yoked, but you have to find someone who shares the same interests as you. Not that you can't be different from the person, but like I said, if I like to talk about certain things and you like to talk about, some men may find that intimidating. Nobody, if you're coming across as condescending, then that's completely different. I think that's a turn off for anyone. If you're coming across as condescending or questioning somebody's everything they have to say, because that makes someone feel like they're not secure, whether you're a man or a woman. Like, oh, if I say something, they're going to challenge it, or I might be saying something wrong, and that goes both ways. So some men could be taken aback by that and may feel insecure about it. Me personally, I'm secure with who I am, and I'm not saying a man isn't who feels that way, but I'm secure with who I am. That condescending shit, I'm not going for. You know what I'm saying? That's a quick way, and you do have some people in general that don't know that they're being that way because they just been so used to it, being that way. I could never be with someone who's condescending, and I can only imagine you making anyone feel that way or they're inferior or that they're stupid or something like that, or everything turns into an argument, or like I like to say when I talk, a personal challenge. But there's nothing wrong, but like you say, you have to find somebody that's into that type of stuff, and you'll know right off bat with a lot of conversations that you have, and I think we can tell right off when we're conversing with someone, and that's how we know we like someone. You know what I'm saying? That based upon the conversations we have, hey, if we're not into the same conversations or they on some other stuff or they're just into sports, I'm not into sports, that's fine. But if you can't find a middle ground except when you're in bed, that may be an issue. You know what I'm saying? Coming from a man. You know what I mean? Because me, I had a woman that has to be able to have a conversation with me. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? If you just only thing you can do is get in bed, that shit gets old. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think even in my 20s that shit was played out. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I just can't, like, if you just and I don't want to say culture, but if you just basically not willing to learn, you don't have anything to talk about, and I'm just here just like it gets old. The conversation, the
You get
energy, it
bored.
just, yeah, you get bored. The energy is just off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think we know that but we try to make things work to say, okay, well, maybe I can overlook it. But I think just conversing with someone is just so important. Having that conversation where we can bounce ideas, iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. Same thing with man and man sharpen each other. So man and woman sharpen each other. I'm not expected. I don't look at myself as I have to teach her everything. I would hope she's able to teach me some things as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on that type of time. So that's what I would have to say to you. And I think based off our conversations, we had I gained some input from where you were coming from, and I think that maybe some of the people just aren't on the type, and the demographic obviously may not be on into the same things you are, but you find the one you love doing what you love. I always say that. I don't care what you do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I know you're in the music industry, but
It
I
ain't
firmly
happened yet.
believe, you know, huh?
It ain't happened yet. And I've been in this thing since I was 18 and I'm 49 now. And
It's
It's
coming.
gonna happen.
It's
I'm putting
coming.
it out there.
It,
We've given you're on the right path. JR has dropped some gems. I've told you some things. It's not changing who you are, but some of this stuff we got to hold back a little bit, and how men, like you said, oh, I view it as sexy. Now you have to think of how a man views it.
mhm.
And a conversation is different than a debate. A conversation, we are conversing. But if a man feels you were talking at him,
Right.
it's
Right.
like, oh, she likes to debate. That means to them, oh, she wants to challenge me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this relationship is going to be a challenge. I already have a challenge outside the doors, out in the world, but now I'm not going to have any peace here. It's going to be a challenge. It's always going to be a back and forth. It's going to be the great debate. Nobody wants to live necessarily in the great debate. So remember, conversation is different than a debate. And you don't have to let them know everything, up front. Don't lose that in you. You don't hold on to your knowledge, but just that's the area where you could soften up some.
Yeah.
I
Indeed.
got it.
Well, appreciate you, Cassie, for calling in. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, JR.
We're gonna wrap soon. I thank you for tuning in. God willing.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Later. All righty here. So I got you, Cassie. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see another caller here. I see you, bro. I'm gonna bring you on. But before I do, I gotta give a shout out to my co-host. For you guys that have been listening. She just gave you ladies, especially if you weren't listening. If you're watching the restream at this point, or if you're watching it now, rewind back like the last 15 minutes of what Avery was saying. She just basically just gave you a free class, on self-help, self-care. And I can't, and I'm a man, and I'm just listening to what she was saying. And I know that this is paid content that, for lack of a bebetter term, that
It
she just
sure
gave
is.
y'all.
Not
'Cause
repeating
I'm
it.
listening to it. I'm like, oh shit, I know that's some coaching stuff right there. She just she just gave out. So definitely take heed, ladies, on what she said, because that was dope. So shout out to
Thank you.
Avery, hot fire again as usual. Guys who's tuning in, make sure you guys hit that. We should hit that like, but there shouldn't be no reason why you shouldn't be hitting that like button. Subscribe to Avery's channel if you want to book a consultation with Avery or a session. If you guys could list her information in the chat, it's also, it's linked here in the description as well as in the title of the video. Go ahead and subscribe to Avery's channel, and that way, follow her on Instagram as well. That way you can directly contact her to book a session. Like I said, she just gave you a free class. That was a freebie there, guys.
It's
And just like every other episode, which I'll have a playlist for, let's talk about what Avery's giving y'all. So what
Thank you.
I mean, before I bring in the next call, what did you think about, I know you just gave her some information,
Mm-hmm.
but what did you think about that whole, like, do you think that somebody finds the person, like, is it like a equally yoked thing in terms of within the field that they're working in, or is it just you should dial back who you are? Or should you just, if somebody just doesn't like that type of thing, or you may intimidate it? I know I'm asking a lot of stuff, but what's your thoughts
Well,
on
no.
that?
So when it comes to the dialing back, right?
Yeah.
We all need to tone. We can all tone it down sometimes. Like it doesn't mean that you are compromising who you are. And it's like, no, but it's this whole like, no, I'm unapologetic. I'm bold. This is just who I am. But who you are could be too damn much sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're not going to lose the knowledge. And what people have to understand is that if you're intelligent and if you have a lot of knowledge, fine. You don't have to necessarily wear it on your chest, right?
Yeah.
So,
Indeed.
and you don't have to use it as a flex. Use it as a secret weapon. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to show you, right? And I'm going to find certain conversations and certain topics to almost bait you like a debate. It is not a debate. It's a relationship. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
You save the debate for somebody who wants to be in a debate,
Indeed.
right? Like when people join the debate team, it's because they want to be on the debate team. But if you're on the debate team and I'm not, don't pull me into that might not be my thing, right? Debates and conversations are different. And then what else did you ask me? I've been over here sipping out my sip.
No. I was just saying, like, based off what she was saying, that you being authentic, and you hit it right on the head. Use it as your secret weapon. You don't want to just be like, okay, this.
You don't have to force feed who you are and what you know and all this stuff to people, right? But like, and the big thing was, she said, well, I think it's sexy.
Yeah, I think, this is what I think. I think it's sexy. Yeah. Which I think a lot of women, not outside of that, a lot of women will go off of what they think is sexy.
We do it. We do it.
Or what another man has said is sexy to them, and may not be the thing.
A lot of times we're like, well, I think it's sexy, but we don't listen to what the man is telling us. Like, oh, I like this or like that. Well, I think, but it's like, you have to be with me, right?
Absolutely.
But we'll tell a man, oh, this is what I like, this is what I want, and we want him to fall in line like that. But when it's them, it's like, oh no, that's not me. This is who I am, type of thing. And then you do have to find somebody like equally yoked, right? But here's another thing. You're not going to find a partner, it's unrealistic, that likes everything that you like. That is also why we have relationships with other people. Not those types of relationships, right? You may have a girlfriend who likes to debate. So she may find a friend or a coworker who likes to debate. Her man may not want to. Perfectly fine. Debate with them. If he doesn't want to, that doesn't mean that the relationship is going to fail. But you can't expect for your partner to be every single thing. And, if one person likes Star Wars, the other person may not like it. But you may have a friend or a cousin that that likes Star Wars, so that's your little Star Wars buddy or whatever. You got your debate buddy. You're not So don't end a relationship, or how do I say, like, before it can start, and don't feel that, well, if this person doesn't find all of these things sexy, or if they don't like all of these things about me, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because some people don't want to debate with you. They may be debating on their job, right? They may have a job where they have to talk all the time. I'm with the guy, and he has to talk a lot. He has to talk to clients. He deals with their money and everything like that. there's times when we've had conversations and he's like, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, girl, because I'm not about to repeat myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to do this all day. I'm not about to do this with you. So you have to understand that. I don't know if that answered any of your question, but
absolutely. You absolutely. So I'm gonna bring on the next caller here, and I think this is probably our last caller here for the evening because I know we're, damn, this has been a lit chat. This has been a lit video. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and bring on the next caller here, Mr. King Jerobi, or however you say that. Is it King Jerobi, King Jerobe? Yeah, you muted. You muted, brother. I unmute you. You gotta unmute yourself. Sorry.
I got a lot of names, bro. My bad.
All right, there we go. Audio's good now. Yeah, you got a lot of names. Where you calling in from?
Okay, there we go. I'm calling from Chicago, bro. My bad.
All right, shout out to the Wendy. We got some interference on the audio side. I don't know what's up. Everything good with the mic over there?
Yeah, we should be good now.
You got something else playing right now?
Yeah, I had to mute. I had another tab. I had to mute it real quick. I muted it already, though.
Yeah, it's something else. It's like some interference coming in.
If
you got something else on, or if you got your phone near.
Not anymore.
Let's see.
Yeah, not anymore.
Let's see if this
I'm gonna put my headphones in, though.
Yeah, put your headphones on. It went away just now. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
It's good now.
Yes, sir. Okay. So from the Wendy, what's on your mind, sir?
Honestly, when I first tapped in, I seen the topic. I was like, "Whoa, JR on something tonight, right?" But then
that's my co-host Avery too. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No doubt, shout out to you, Miss Avery.
Thank you.
But then, honestly, bro, and this is the thing, right? I apologize because I can't even remember what it was that you said a few seconds ago when you was talking to the lady. But it was just like it struck a chord with me and made me feel like, man, I need to leave my girl.
Something I said?
Like it was something you said about people dealing with certain things and tolerating certain things, and it's some stuff
condescending.
Yeah, that part. And it was something that you said that kind of spoke to a level of immaturity and people not wanting to grow up or change, you know what I'm saying? And be accountable for their behavior. And it was just like, man, like I've really been thinking, because like right now we actually live in two different states because I'm working in another state, right? But I'm just trying to really figure out if I should stay or if I should go. Because I've been doing such deep introspection for the last couple of years and really trying to level up mentally and emotionally and change my behavior and just get out of that toxic cycle that we were in where, you know, it's just, everything is just always a battle. But it's like my lady, she from Chicago too, and I just can't get her to let the hood go. I can't get her to let the trauma go. You know what I'm saying? I can't get it. Sometimes I think she might actually be bipolar. I can't get her to deal with it. I can't really get her to actually focus in and deal with anything, bro. Like, and then it's to the point where like it hurt. And there's not a lot of spaces for men to go to and talk about pain. Especially from somebody that's already dealing with anxiety and PTSD.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, honestly, being in the YouTube space and on these podcasts has been my therapy. This is the only place I feel safe enough to even have this type of conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually sad, seeing as how I have a living mother and father and a host of other relatives. And of course, I wouldn't even want to heap this on my two children. But so I guess I could say thank you for even allowing me to be here right now and express these feelings that I'm having. But I just don't know, man. I have this thing where I have separation anxiety. I have abandonment issues from when I was young, and when I'm with my mom. And it's like, I don't want to just abandon her, right?
Do me a favor. Do me a favor real quick, because I'm gonna respond to that. unplug your audio real quick and plug it back in. Because it's some interference going. I don't know what. Unplug it real quick and plug it back in.
I'm gonna switch to my default and see if that helps.
Now that sounds much better. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I just switched to the regular mic.
Okay.
Okay,
Something's
shut
probably
down.
going on with the mic thing.
All right. You sound much better because it was interference. So yeah, you were saying separation anxiety and things like that. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anxiety.
and abandonment issues that I
Right.
still, you know what I'm saying, deal with. And it's just like I don't want to abandon my lady, right? Not to mention the fact that I also have survivor's remorse,
Mm-hmm.
where I know I've done some work. I'm not perfect by any means at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not gonna try to make it seem like it's so easy to be with me. It's not. But the one thing that I give myself credit for is that I'm doing the work. You know what I'm
You said
saying? And
survivor because you cut out. You said survivor's remorse in terms of what?
in terms of the fact that um I'm doing the work.
Okay.
I've figured out some things that were wrong with me. I've
Mm-hmm.
done the work. I've done the introspection. I understand how empowering accountability can be.
Absolutely.
And then I'm dealing with a person that has not figured this out yet.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm trying not to judge her based on where she is, because when I was her age, I was nowhere near where I am now. You see what I'm saying? And so I remember I learned a saying some years back that said, "Be careful in judging people for not knowing what you know, because there was a time when you didn't know it."
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm trying
You
to
must love the
extend that
stranger that
grace.
was once you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm trying to extend that sort of grace, and also figure out whether or not it's really as bad as I think it is. You know what I'm saying? It might not, maybe it's not even as bad as I really think it is, but I do think it's gonna be a detriment. We've been together for 12 years. Communication is key. Everybody knows that. And there's no way that we're gonna heal if every time we talk, or every time I offer correction, or you have to challenge me. It has to be a debate or an argument. Like the last lady was saying, she liked to debate. I love to debate too, but not with my woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want to converse with my woman. I want to be able to speak to my woman like she's a princess, love her like she's a queen, adore her like she's the moon, praise her like she's the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be able to do all of these things to you, but how can I do that when you're giving me so much masculine energy?
Right.
And then when I point that out, you feel you take everything
You're
as
attacked.
criticism or bashing, or like I'm attacking you, when I'm really just saying I want you to be the best version of yourself, not even just for me, but because I know how good it's gonna make you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Ready.
Yeah. So I
She may
mean,
not want
I
to.
think I said a lot. I don't know what advice you all have for me, but I'm all ears.
I wrote some notes. I'll let JR. JR, do you want to go first, or did you?
Yeah, I'll go ahead because I was tell you to go first, but okay.
You go ahead.
First question is what's the age difference between you two?
6 years.
Okay, you've been together 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
How old is she?
38.
Okay, 38. So 6 year difference. You've been together 12 years. When did you notice this happening? How long ago was this? Because 12 years is a long time.
As far as the communication issues and stuff.
Yeah, these everything you described in terms of you saying she can't leave the hood, but she has this hood mentality. She takes everything as basically a personal attack, or whatever. And I'm not saying like I'm glad you admitted, hey, it could be me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But
Some of it is definitely me.
yeah. When did you notice this? Was it like
Honestly, man, if I'm being honest, it was very early on. Because even though we've been together for 12 years, I've been knowing her since 2004. So I've been knowing her for 18 years.
okay?
Right. But the 12 years I really count from when we first started living together.
Okay.
That's when I really counted. And then that's when the dynamic changed.
Absolutely.
I knew that she was hood, I knew that she moved more like a dude.
Okay.
You know how they say, women want to talk and men are just quiet and not that, not too emotional and don't express themselves. Well, our relationship is the exact opposite.
Oh,
I'm the one that wants to talk everything out and get everything out and open and not just sweep everything under the rug, where she is the one that don't really want to talk, not finna,
Stonewalling.
all that, men give you advice like, man, you just got to give her some space. Well, if I give her some space, it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That
Give some
because her
space,
that may
man.
pride
be,
is
you
going to
can't.
make her say, oh, well, he's trying to prove to me he don't need me. So then I'm going to try to prove to him I don't need him, instead of just being willing to communicate about the problem at hand.
Does she tell you that you be pressuring her
Um,
as far as communication? Does she feel like you coming on too strong? Are you pressuring her? Even though you may be just trying to communicate with her, does she feel that way?
not necessarily in those words. I would say what she says to me is that uh she doesn't know what I want from her, right? Because it seems like I'm always trying to correct something.
Right.
But what I try to get her to understand, which I will admit, it does seem like that. To the like, out of every 10 conversations, maybe 6 of them I'm trying to correct something,
Mm.
right? But it's because I feel like you're not trying, right? But then the one time, anytime I do see her try, I could literally show you a text from maybe a few days ago where I told her, man, when I was just talking to you about that, I could feel you trying your best to be feminine. I could feel you trying your best to be cooperative. I really appreciate that. And she was like, man, thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, I'm acknowledging the good as well as the bad. But it's
Positive
like,
reinforcement.
I've grown to a point where I can't deal with the masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to. And then I'm in these other manosphere spaces, and then everybody's like, bro, you're not supposed to, right? And then there goes the survivor's remorse. Everybody's like, oh, well, you just need to leave. Well, she didn't leave me. Y'all tell women not to be with broke men, but I was completely broke and she stayed.
Yeah,
You
that's you
understand?
can't.
So
Yeah,
it's
you can't take advice from people who have a one track mind. Have you guys gone to therapy? Have y'all tried therapy before?
no, we
Couples
haven't.
therapy.
She recently signed up for it, but then it didn't happen for some reason. With the doctor had an issue or something, and then she didn't sign back up. But
I'm
I
talking
mean,
about between y'all two though, not just one of y'all, but both of
oh,
y'all.
couples therapy.
Yeah, couples therapy
No, I would do it, but right now, like I said, like we're separated
in
for a
different
couple of more
places.
months. I'm trying to work my way up in this particular company, and then I'm gonna
Gotcha.
transfer it back to where we live. But I mean, I would definitely do couples. The thing was, when she said she was going to the individual therapy, I did have some concerns about that. But yeah, I would definitely do couples therapy.
Yeah, I think before you, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, we're only getting, as guys like to
My
say in this
side,
space, one side of the story. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So you would need an objective person to hear both sides and say, hey, to point out, shortcomings or things that you both are doing right, things that you may be doing wrong for like, or what you can do to better the situation. But I look at things obviously for which would be something more in depth. Obviously we talking here on this situation. I'm gonna finish this and give it to Avery. Um, you guys aren't together right now. You guys are separated, so obviously the conversations you do have, it's only but so much, and only in text isn't always the best communicate form of communication. A lot can be misconstrued. So I
that part.
definitely believe that y'all need a third party intervention in terms of that, if it's worth it
Hmm.
at this point. Because I won't tell anybody to just up and leave somebody. You know what I mean? But happiness is very important, and if you've tried, exhausted everything, then you need to re-examine, because nobody should remain in a situation after you tried everything and you both made efforts and it's just not working. You know what I'm saying? That's just my thoughts on it. But I wouldn't just up and tell somebody you need to just up and leave her. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right,
we only
yeah.
hear one side of the story. You know what I mean? But anyway, what do you got, Avery? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to keep my comments reserved, but I am going to say this. One, I heard you say you have abandonment issues,
Hmm.
right? Completely understand, but I feel like as if you're failing to realize, right? And I am a personal coach, I am not a therapist. Um, but with abandonment issues, what you fail to realize that in this instance, it sounds from what we've heard like you are abandoning yourself. You're
Hmm.
worried about abandoning her, but you are abandoning yourself, right?
Hmm.
Because now you are compromising who you are. If you are unhappy, right? And like you even said, the YouTube space, men don't have a lot of spaces where they can open up, right? And where they can talk the way that you are talking. And that
Right.
YouTube has given you a space where you can do that, and your podcast. Even though you have a family around you, you cannot do that with them. So the abandonment issues, realizing who you're abandoning, to me, and the man that you have become and that you are continuing to become, you are abandoning yourself. I am against people being in a relationship where they abandon themselves, right? I feel people will ask me all the time, Avery, when do you know when it's over? Some stuff is over before it's ever over. But when you feel like your soul is compromised and you're compromising who you are trying to become, especially the whole version of you, the version of you that has held yourself accountable, who is doing the work, right? Then you may have to exit stage left. Because here's the thing, you have fought to get to where you are today, right? And like you said, you're already dealing with anxiety, depression, and other things. You have to take care of yourself and give and love yourself the way that you have done her. And you also have to realize that some people don't want to change.
Correct.
Right? One thing I do believe in is that in a relationship, you guys have been together a very long time. A long time. When you have a partner that you've been with for some time and you've seen them change, not somebody that you got with them when they became the new and improved version, right? But if she saw you before and she sees you now and she sees you doing the work, if she has not been inspired or motivated to do some work on her own without you having to tell her in 6 out of 10 conversations or out of 7 out of 10 conversations, then she may not be willing to do it. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Right? You've been together a long time. It's the same thing. Say you guys were, and I'm just making this up, say both people were overweight or had, or not overweight, you just ate bad, had high blood pressure. And say you go to the doctor and they're like, hey, you got to watch out. And you start changing, you had it scared, right? I need to change my lifestyle. I need to change. If you start to do it and she still eats like garbage and she's just like, oh, whatever, then, that's kind of a problem, right? But if she sees you doing it, you're not forcing her to, but she's like, you know what, babe? Let's do this together because we could both eat, even though she didn't get the same diagnosis yet. It's only a matter of time before she does, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you are her man and she's been around you this amount of time, and she has seen the work that you have done and how you have grown and evolved, and she hasn't matched that energy and she hasn't changed, she may not. You could possibly, and I've been in, not to give too much, I've been in a situation where I started to heal, I started to evolve, and I started to change before the other person. And I was praying to God to change them. I'm like, why haven't they changed yet? Right? He was like, because you're not supposed to do this half of your life with them. He was like, they're not ready. This is for you. She may not be ready, but because you have time invested in her and because of the abandonment issues and everything else, you want it to be her. You want her to change. And then let's just be honest, once you get a taste of that good life, baby, that healed life, that life where you hold yourself accountable, the introspection, we know how beautiful, how powerful it is, right? You want the people around you to do it. You're like, no, you do it too.
That's a fact.
It's the shit over here. Excuse my friend. It is the shit over here. Come on over to the land of the living and leave the land of the dead, right?
Right.
But they haven't gotten to that point yet, and they may never get to that point. Not everybody hits rock bottom. Not everybody gets to a breaking point. Not everybody gets to a point where they're so uncomfortable like I did to where they're like, oh my gosh, I need to do some work. It may not be her. So take that from both of us, right? I also agree with JR, right? I agree with what he was saying. But as a woman, I am telling you, if she has not matched your energy and be like, you know what, babe, I love you. I need to take some time away because I need to find what you're finding, right? She may not change. Or guess what? It may end and she may end up changing 5 years from now with someone else. But you also can think that, oh, well, that was supposed to be me because it wasn't supposed to be me.
Absolutely.
And another thing, if she got with you and you didn't have a lot of money and she stuck with you, that was her choice. You don't owe her. I don't know why people think that. You don't owe her. She did it. That was her choice. I'm sure you have stuck with her as we have heard things as well. So don't think like, oh, I can't leave because she was with me when I ain't have nothing. That was her decision. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's
Yo.
kind of cold. That was kind of cold blooded, but I get what you're saying though.
But that's what I'm saying is that you have to also, you've done a lot of work. You don't want to lose that, right? So don't abandon the
Don't.
work you've done and the healing and that stuff. It just may not be, it's no love loss, but she may not be ready. And I know you're excited because you love, it's like, this is life. You've had your aha moment. You can't force your aha moment in your healing and your accountability and where you're at on her. I'm telling you, she's 38. At first, when you were talking, I thought you were talking about somebody very young.
Right.
She ain't no spring chicken.
Right.
I'm 39. She's not a spring chicken. I was like, let me get my head together before I really start to get a lot older.
Right. And see, that's why, because you're a woman, I really wanted to ask you this question. I'm trying to think of a better word to use, but it's like, do you think that in general women need moments where they get to be uncooperative? I wanted to say the B word just so everybody would know what I'm talking about but I'm gonna use uncooperative, right? To say like sometimes they just want to go off. Like my lady hates when I say to her, look, treat me like you treat your white bosses. No matter how much they get on your nerves, you still ain't yelling at them. You still ain't cussing at them. You still ain't condescending them. You're still being cooperative. Whatever time they say come, you come. Whatever time they say go, you go.
Absolutely.
Right? So, but at the same time, it seemed like sometimes she'll be on the roll and then something happen and then she'll just throw it all away. All of the work, all of the changing, like, nope, I'm just going to be uncooperative. You know what I'm saying? In this particular moment, instead of saying, you know what, nope, I'm just gonna stick with the femininity, I'm just gonna stick with being soft-spoken. Nope, I'm finna be mad, belligerent, I'm finna hang up on you, even though I've already acknowledged that that's disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like you choose to do it, but I promise you it ain't just her.
But that's also,
my mama was this way, my grandmamas was this way, my aunties was this way. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made me want to ask you, like, do we as men need to understand that sometimes our women need moments to let their hair down and be uncooperative or be kind of, I don't know what other word to use besides belligerent with their tongues, or is that just an excuse?
To be in their feelings. Okay, so there's a couple aspects, right? It's a couple aspects. If she's the way you just described it means that she really hasn't, the reason women can flop back and forth like that and throw it all away if something happens is because they haven't really done the work, right? Like I said earlier, a woman can tap into it for a moment, right? For whatever reason, because if you're bringing up these conversations, she knows how to tap into it to get you to be quiet about it, right? And to kind of back off of her. She's doing what you want her to do. She has not done it for herself, which is why anything can happen and she's right back to square one. I'm going to give you an example. I have done a lot of the work. I can pop off. I can still pop off, right? Being connected to your feminine doesn't mean you pop off. But when you do, it's only a moment. I'm not starting back over, right? It's literally, you're human, right? You're human. I had to go off on somebody when it came to you wouldn't have thought I had a feminine, but like, oh, I'm popping off, right?
Right.
But it's only for a moment. And I'm right back in my feminine. It's the same thing when we talk to, Cassie, and she's like, hey, yeah, if you're in a certain workspace, you can tap into, leading your masculine and then turn it off.
Right.
She is leading in her masculine and she's turning the feminine on for you. And it's to appease you and to manipulate a certain situation. When I say manipulate,
I know what you mean.
I don't want to hear this conversation anymore. I don't want to hear him talk about this. I don't want to be reminded about this. Let me just do this. Right. And then anything happens and she's right back to her true self. Right now, her true self is leading in her masculine. The women that you talked about in your life, and the majority of the women are the ones that are leading in their masculine, and they turn their femininity on for a second, or for a purpose that serves them, or to just shut down a situation, and then they're right back to who they are.
So I know that you said you were 39. I guess my last question would be, do you think, because my uncle told me this, I remember a few years ago when we were at a crossroads and I said, man, do you think I should stay with her? Should I leave? What should I do? And he said, the way she is now, if she's that way in 5 years, would you still want to be with her? If not, you need to go, because people typically don't change when they're over a certain age. He said 30, more than likely 35. And the only time people change after that is if they have life altering things happen to them that force them to change, right? Sort of like what you said with eating habits. You eat like a pig, but then you go to have a heart attack or something, and then all of a sudden you care. Or like with me, I used to smoke cigarettes. I smoked for 19 years. And then I smoked a cigarette one day and my heart felt like it was about to explode.
Right.
I ain't smoked since.
Right.
So it's been 6 years.
Right.
So do you think that most, and I'm asking about women, right? Since you're a woman, that a woman that's 38 outside of something major happening just is who they are? Because it's way too many men in the YouTube sphere and in the manosphere and in social media that are saying they're dealing with this masculine energy from women. And the one thing that I noticed is that most of these guys, they're in their 30s. I don't see a lot of guys in their 20s really complaining about masculine women in their 20s. They talk about them and their perspectives, but not necessarily being in a masculine energy. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because they're not also aware of it, I don't think. They haven't, they don't know themselves enough to be able to recognize it. But a lot of men in their 20s are not in their masculine.
Okay, that's different.
You see what I'm saying? They're not. A lot of young men are not leading in their masculinity. It's reversal. You have the age women are leading in their masculinity, men are leading in their femininity for some of those younger ones. And as far as people not being able to change, I would say change. Maybe I see what your uncle's saying. I do believe people can continue to evolve. They may not, you know what I'm saying? There's an evolution that has to happen. It doesn't have to be a life-changing situation. It could be something where, like when COVID happened, right? I mean, that was life-changing, but people now had time to sit at home. You have a lot of people that changed from COVID because they had time. They weren't to sit with themselves. They were forced into isolation, right? Some people still ran from it, but they were forced into isolation. So it depends, right? But it's personal. It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. That means it doesn't matter how much you change, how much you evolve, how much you hold yourself accountable. If she don't want to do it, and I hate to talk like that, but let's be frank. If she don't want to do it, she don't want to do it. If she hasn't done it yet, I wouldn't keep having the same conversation.
Facts.
So I would not keep having the same conversation. Back to the thing really quick with women popping off. Like I said, yes, women go through their emotions, right? It could be their time of the month. They get more irritable. There's a healthy way to do it. If it's a complete disrespect or whatever, but we know what that is. Like I said, that's her leading in her masculine and flipping on the feminine switch a little bit here and there to quiet the waters for the moment. And then she's right back to who she was.
I appreciate that, Jay. I appreciate you too. I don't know if you've done a video on masculinity and for men, for young boys, JR, but I think you're probably one of the few voices on YouTube where we could actually expect something tangible that we could actually apply to our lives, bro. Like a lot of people just be talking,
right?
And they basically break it all the way down to just money, right? And just so the ladies would know, the average guy out here, and I don't mean like just average in looks or money, I'm just mean like 5 out of 10 guys don't want to have to buy your civility. So we cannot listen to these guys that are just telling us to get our money up. Because if we get our money up and then we get the behavior from you that we're looking for, we're never going to believe it's real. And then we're always going to be seeking somebody else to make us feel like they like us for us.
Yes.
But yeah, JR, if you did a video on masculinity, I would definitely be front and center for that, bro. I would appreciate that. And also, if you could do a video on loving women, bro, because I want to do a video actually on whether or not we can love women through their issues because that was one of the complaints I heard a lot coming up, is that men were abandoning women, which is, I think, one of another deep rooted reason inside of me why I've never really left a relationship. I was always the one who got left, right? Well, most of the men I talk to be like, man, I left that chick. You know what I mean? So just a couple of things, Jr. I mean, I know I can't make you do the videos.
I'm writing it down, man.
Right,
I've
but
covered it
we
because
trust you
I've
is
got
all
over
I'm saying.
I've got over 1,200 videos, man. So I know I've covered this in the past, but I'm writing it down,
Yeah.
so I'll revisit that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, we trust you, so the people who I actually trust in the YouTube spaces, which is not a lot, you, Sir Hale, Anton, a couple other more people, like the people that I trust, I tell you all exactly what I think other guys like us that are listening to you need to hear. You know what I'm saying? And we appreciate all the work that you have done so far, brother. Please keep going.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
No doubt, brother. Respect.
Right.
Peace, Miss Avery. Thank you for all of your wisdom.
No problem.
Dope. All right, later, bro. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. Being so vulnerable and
Yes.
disclosing that. One thing I didn't, which you mentioned, I'm glad you did, is I encountered the same issues that he has. Well, I have suffered from the same stuff that he suffered from,
Mm-hmm.
which is abandonment issues, and
Mm-hmm.
it all goes back for you men that are listening, and women as well. It does go back to your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and from women leaving me and not wanting to, or being called needy and things like that in the past. And I had a conversation with my mother about how, did she do certain things when I was a child, which that I didn't remember. And it goes back even to when you're a baby. You may not know whether she was just letting you cry, because you should. I mean, they say let the baby cry, let that baby cry, but you need to pick that damn baby up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the difference. You're supposed to spoil your baby to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But this does affect you, or you being left behind, or things like that. It does affect you. And I would always wonder, why is it that, from a divorce to other relationships, why would I always feel this way about women and wanting to chase after them, or felt like I was being abandoned? And it's something I had to work on, because single parent household, I didn't have a loving family or a strong loving dynamic to look at, as opposed to somebody who did come from a family like that, a loving family. So definitely I dealt with that abandonment issue. And sometimes we do, as he said also, which I talk about a lot, I feel men, I mean, over time, sometimes women are more forgiving, but men are more forgiving when it comes to, that have the same thing in terms of abandonment issues, to actually stick around. I don't even want to say men, but people tend to stick around that have had abandonment issues as a child and want to make things work out. And you hit it right on the head, saying at a certain point, you should just be like, the light has to go off and say, this is too damn long. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like, how many? And that's why I asked him, how long has this been going on? Because
Mm-hmm.
after a while, you just get tired, or you just get used to it, or you may have that. I don't want to abandon her. She stood by me. I feel this way. I don't want to up and leave, because maybe this is my identity at this point. We've been together so long, so she has become my identity, regardless of if she treats me like shit,
Right.
or whatever. I feel like this is something, but you have to, as you say, evolve and know something's not good for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, and I think that that's so important. But that abandonment is a real issue, and people get
Yes.
made fun of it. I know as a man, I got made fun of it, made fun of because of that by other men. They'll make
Mm-hmm.
fun of you, and women will make fun of you. About that. There's a difference, I believe, between being like needy and being creepy, and over pursuing and things like that. But
Right.
sometimes you just want to communicate, and as you said, if that person just doesn't want to change, you said the thing that I learned about that, and I'm sorry if I'm long-winded,
No,
Avery,
you're
is when it comes to change, people will only change for something, and he named it too. People will only change for something that's emotionally compelling.
fine. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, they will not change, and it could be the fear of loss. You may need to separate from it, but I just felt like you should exhaust. If you really want to be with this woman, you have to ask yourself, have I exhausted everything? You know what
Right.
I'm
And
saying?
I do
Yeah.
believe that before you exit stage left,
Right.
most of the times you should exhaust every option. So you
Right.
also have no regrets. And you can leave and be like, you know what? I did my best. I did
Mhm.
what I could and
Absolutely.
it didn't work.
That
But
is
if
true.
you are losing yourself in the process
Mm.
and
Absolutely.
you feel like you are compromising yourself, right? And abandonment issues are very real. I also feel that abandonment issues for men is a little bit more serious
Mm-hmm.
and has done it. It's a heavier load. It's heavier. I think it's something that really needs to be addressed with men, right? Same with
You have
women.
mommy issues, yeah, or
Yeah,
daddy
but
issues.
it's
Go ahead.
no, but it's real. People always
Yeah.
talk about daddy issues with girls, but no, like abandonment issues for men is very real, and it comes up when they have relationships, with women. But also with that, since it is very real, and if you are aware of it, if you find yourself somebody who suffers from abandonment issues,
Mhm.
abandoning yourself because you're trying not to abandon someone else, that's
Indeed.
not a healthy dynamic.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you have fought to evolve and to hold yourself accountable and you're still healing and you're still dealing with your abandonment issues, right? Because it happened, those are seeds that were planted. Even if you're addressing them, those it's still there, can be triggered. Don't abandon yourself. Then what makes you different than anybody else? You are abandoning yourself to not abandon someone else. No.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? At some point, even for men, you have to choose yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfectly stated. I see we got somebody on here. We've been rap band. This is dope. This is dope. I think hey bro, if I bring you on, you gotta land the plane, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been
Landing,
seeing you
no
say
hovering, right? The airway is clear. I mean, what do you know?
yeah.
The landing strip. No, I don't know if it's called
Yeah.
a landing strip. Wait a minute. But you know what I'm saying.
Hey, yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, how that drink tasting, Avery? You know what I'm saying?
It's like, I had to pour some words.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That glass you got there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Drinking like a lady with a straw. I know that's right.
I
You know what I'm
know.
saying? Hey, but before I bring him on, because this is officially the last caller here, and bro, like I say, I need you to land that plane, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like it's. But yo, shout out to everybody. Hit that like button if you haven't. If you're
Yeah.
just now tuning in, shout out where you from, where you calling in, age, sex, gender, whatever have you. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Let's go ahead and get it up to 200 likes, guys. Hit that like button and shout out to everybody. So let's go ahead and bring in.
Hey, Kayla. Hey, Gloria. I see you guys.
Yeah, shout out to Kayla and Gloria.
I don't
Shout
know
out,
you, but I'm seeing your chat, so it's dope.
yeah, shout out to all my moderators up in here. Pink Book Lessons. I saw her. I
Sure.
guess she left. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to
Yes.
I think Toya was in here, but I guess she left. Anyway, good evening, sir. How you doing there? What you talking about?
I'm all right. What's up,
Watch,
Jr.?
talk,
How you
and
doing?
act. Excuse me. I butchered that. Yeah.
Watch,
What's
talk, and act correct.
yeah? What's on your mind, bro? And
I
where you
just want
calling
to.
in from?
I'm calling in from Texas,
Texas.
Dallas
What
Fort
part of
Worth area.
Texas? I know Texas is big. Where?
Are you familiar with Grand Prairie, Texas?
I've heard of it, bro. I've never been to Texas. I've heard of it though.
Is
Yeah,
that outside Houston?
It's right outside of Dallas.
right
So
outside
Oh, I was
Dallas.
completely wrong. Look.
Hey, I've never been to
Hey.
Texas. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make my pilgrimage soon though. Yeah. Shout out to Grand Prairie. What's on your mind, bro?
I just want to warn men, specifically of a specific type of hoe, which is the sanctified hoe, the one who uses Jesus to cover up her wrongdoing.
Mm,
Because that's what I had to go through with a relationship that I was in last year, and toward slightly before toward the end of, I think it was 2020 and into 2021. So there was things that she did that was very wrong, and she kept using the fact that she believes in Jesus and I didn't believe in Jesus to cover up her wrongdoing. So that's just what I wanted to pretty much say.
the sanctified hoe. Hold on,
Mhm.
I gotta play some music for this one. I know I'm gonna blur it out later. I'm gonna cut it out later. But as soon as he said that, yeah, expound some more on this sanctified hoe you talking about because we
I know some
So
too.
the whole thing is when you're growing up, specifically, when it comes to religion, we're taught to believe that we're saved by Jesus, right? And this indoctrination that you take it to the cross, and no matter what you do, that you're saved. So subliminally, you carry that throughout your your life if you don't study the way you should be. You're just listening, taking that in, and when you become an adult, the things that you do, you don't take into consideration, and you use that to fall back on when you're wrongdoing. Period.
Manipulating the scripture and the word to suit their lifestyle
Correct.
and their bad choices. Yeah, like, oh well, I'm just gonna ask for forgiveness, but continue to make the wrong choices and continue to be a certain way. No,
Correct.
and that's honestly, but that's that religion. You know, when people are like, oh, I'm religious or I'm churchy, there's a difference between being a believer and having a connection with the higher power, and also back to it, being accountable. I'm a believer, right? And there was a point in my life where God was like, "It's on you. This is on you." You know what I'm saying? You have to do this work. You can't pray, you can't fast, you can't do anything to fix this. This is on you. You have hit the crossroad, the fork in the road. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay here? Are you going to vow? Are you going to hold yourself accountable? So there are a lot of sanctified hoes.
Yeah, and I
When it
mean,
comes to men and women in the church, but especially women, they'll be up, it's like a devil's playground for a lot of them. And no, you cannot manipulate the word, the Quran, whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, you cannot manipulate that like it's going to, wash all your sins away, and you don't change. If you don't think that the higher power, whatever higher power you believes in, know you're on some bullshit, they know. So you're not fooling anybody but yourself. You're trying to fool yourself so you can sleep better at night, and then you're trying to fool the people in your life.
And me, I believe in the Most High Creator too, but I don't believe in that there was a real man, who was Jesus, things
Right.
like that. But I do believe.
But you have somebody that's holding you morally. It's holding you accountable. You're grounded to something, right?
Right. It's just the saved by grace mentality that gets in the way of a lot of people. They don't do the work, so to speak.
They're playing. Yeah, they're playing.
Trauma. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you told him to watch out for that sanctified hoe. Yeah, just because she's in church doesn't mean she's the one either. Do not let the smooth taste fool you. Do people even say that anymore?
Huh?
Don't let the smooth taste fool you. But just because she's in church, those are the ones you gotta watch out for. No.
So I landed the plane like Tariq said, JR.
You landed it. You came right in and landed it. You said, watch out for the sanctified hoes. Over and out.
Right.
Shout out. Hey, appreciate you calling in, bro.
Most
Thank
definitely.
you.
All right. Watch out for them sanctified hoes. I'm just listening to this Joe. That's what made me think of it. Remember that song? Here you go.
Yes.
What y'all know about that, y'all young whippersnappers?
Yeah, young woman.
That's our old Joe. Anyway, I'm gonna play that when we get off here. Anyway, y'all know nothing about Joe. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, you got to watch out for. They're in the church. You know what I'm saying? I call them those with a religious love, like R. Kelly. But it is what it is. Be on the lookout, guys. Guard your hearts, do the work, and I think don't think you're too good for anybody, man. Humble yourself. Be humble. Be humble. Be a good person, man. I know I'm just talking shit because we had
Like Kendrick Lamar said, sit down, be humble.
Yeah, sit down and be humble.
And at the end of the day, when it comes to a lot of topics that we talk about, do the work. You cannot evolve. You cannot, certain things that you want, whatever, do the work. You have to hold yourself accountable. And with this one, the independent hoe now wants to be a housewife.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of that mindset. We can't erase the bodies. We can't erase the body count. But you have to shift your mindset. You cannot go into a marriage and thinking that a man should put a ring on your finger without you changing, without you evolving, without you disconnecting from your masculine and connecting to your feminine, without you taking the pants off. Right? You have to do a lot of work, and you got to realize you do have a body count and you are getting older. So he can't just take you as you are, right? You have to do something to make yourself more appealing. And that's going to be not just the outer work, because a man's going to see right through that bullshit. It's going to take inner work.
Indeed. 100, Avery. Any closing words? I know those some bomb ass closing words, but I don't know if you had anything else to add.
That was my
Yeah.
closing words. Cheers.
Dope. Cheers.
Till next
Salud.
time.
Till next time. This has been I'm pretty sure everybody's agreed in the chat. This has been an awesome, definitely life changing for those of you who have been listening. You know, definitely a lot of teaching moments, a lot of examples here tonight that you guys can learn from. Definitely some folks that's going to be binge watching, some ladies in here binge watching Avery's content for sure. Y'all see where Jarrett's plugged her information, as well as it's in the link. It's
Yeah.
linked in the description as well as in the title of this video. You guys make sure you subscribe to Avery's channel. Make sure you can book a session. Follow her on Instagram as well.
Mhm.
You know, all that information is there. Also, make sure you guys like the video again before you head out. Subscribe to
For
to
sure.
everybody's channel and purchase everybody's book, merchandise, book sessions, all those great things. Y'all see the information below. And like I said, y'all stay tuned for next week. We're coming at you with another episode, and you know, hopefully there'll be more to come of these. If you guys enjoy, we're looking to give you a male and female perspective from some people that's not just talking ish. You know, we're
Mhm.
talking about stuff that we've experienced. We're not just like, hey, here's a topic, and we're just gonna ramble on. So
Right.
that's definitely we're giving you our outlook on it. And if you appreciate it, like I said, hit the like button and subscribe, and make sure you guys tune in next week. We'll come at you with another awesome topic. So with that being said, peace, mercy, and blessings. I am JR Wisdom and my co-host.
Avery Woodley. And have a great evening. Thank you guys for joining us.
Indeed. So we'll see you guys soon. Peace. Sheesh.